Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto forces Akeno and Koneko part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. 25 years before start of Civil War. The cry of a newly born child could be heard in the room as Vanillana Gremory held onto a little blue bundle that contained her newborn son. He had a tuft of red hair on his head and blue-green eyes as his father and elder brother, both of whom looked at him with love. He is a beautiful little boy. He will grow up to be strong. Lord Gremory said. Hopefully he can grow up in this relative peace that we have gained after the end of the Great War. Surzicha said with a sigh as he regarded his little baby brother. Yes, I hope so too, son. So what shall we name him? Lord Gremory said. Naruto. Naruto Gremory. I can just feel it. He will do great things. Vanillana said as she rubbed her cheek affectionately with her newborns. Time skipped 5 years before Civil War. Naruto Gremory was in one of the open fields of the house training to master a new technique he had created. Beads of sweat poured down his shirtless torso as he kept going despite the exhaustion, having been at it for the past 5 hours. Narutan. Surzichas called out as he walked out of the castle to find his brother hard at work. Nai-san. What are you doing here? Naruto asked as he sat on the ground, materializing a bottle of water before pouring it over his head. You should take a break. You are going to work yourself to an early death at this rate. Surzicha said as he joined his brother on the ground. I know, it's just that I want to show everyone that just because I didn't inherit the power of destruction that I am not weak. Naruto said. Naruto was born with high magical power just like his brother. The odd thing though was that he did not inherit the power of destruction that his brother did. Rather, he had a unique set of eyes that he instinctively knew the name of. His unique eyes, crimson red like his hair and 3 tomo in a circular pattern, called the Sharingan, granted him predictive vision and the ability to copy anything he saw if his body was up to the task. Combined with the rigorous training he did, gave him the nickname the Untouchable. He could also cast powerful illusions with his eyes that could distract opponents. You know that it isn't true anymore. You are plenty strong, Naruto. In fact, you are stronger than me when I was your age. But it doesn't matter what others think. The most important thing is that you should be happy with what you have achieved. Surzicha said. Yeah. I guess you're right. But I still want to see if this technique works. So I'll go back to training then. Naruto said as he got up and went back to training. I won't distract you then. Dinner is in 2 hours. Make sure you shower before then. Mother won't be pleased if you are present in your current state. You remember what happened last time. Surzicha chided. Yeah. I think my ear is still sore from that. Naruto said as Surzicha gave him a wave before heading back into the castle. 3 years into Civil War. Damn it. Naruto growled out continuously as his fist contacted the wall of Gremory Castle, blood oozing from his knuckles as cracks appeared in the wall. The now 28-year-old Naruto Gremory, dressed in his special combat attire which consisted of a long-sleeved black muscle shirt tucked into black combat slacks, combat boots with tape to secure the pants down. The sleeves were rolled so that they covered 3/4 of his arm. He wore fingerless gloves with a metal plate on the back. Over that he wore a black flak vest that had multiple pouches. Strapped to his back was his trusty katana, and around his waist was a large multi-purpose pouch for supplies. He had matured well, his spiky hair striking an odd balance between looking messy and neat, with 2 chin-length bangs framing his face. The Civil War had officially started 3 years ago. The descendants of the original Satans and their followers wanted to resume the Great War, while another group of devils were against it since it would lead the devils to ruin. Naruto was an anti-Satan faction fighter and had quickly gained fame in the group despite his young age. He was one of the aces of the group together with his brother Surzichas and his brother's good friend, Ajuka. He had mastered many different forms of magic with a particular specialty in fire and wind that rivaled the Phoenix House, water that rivaled the Citri, and unparalleled mastery in lightning magic. His unique technique, the lightning armor, made him one of, if not the fastest devils. In addition to boosting his speed and reaction time, the lightning armor also boosted his strength and durability to scary levels, making him a feared combatant in the field. Naruto, there you are. You can't keep blaming yourself. You tried your best. Surzicha said as he finally found his brother after the tragic battle that had just happened. It was my fault. If I had been faster, I could have saved him. I failed, brother. We promised each other that we would make sure we had each other's backs so that we could come home safely. But I failed to keep my promise. Naruto said as he started crying, a burning sensation in his eyes. You can't keep blaming yourself for Takio's death. He wouldn't want you to be like this. You did your best. Surzicha said, trying to comfort his brother. One of the anti-Satan faction camps had been attacked and many lives were lost, one of which was an extra devil named Takio. Takio was one of Naruto's best friends and was like a brother in all but blood, so the loss was painful. But if I was faster, he could have been saved. If I wasn't taking a break when the attack started, I could have been there to help them. Naruto said as blood started leaking from his eyes. And do what? Die valiantly with them? You may be strong, but even you cannot take on an entire battalion by yourself, brother. Now let me take a look at your eyes, they are bleeding. Surziches said, his initially angry tone softening when he saw his younger brother in pain. I'm fine. Naruto said as he opened his eyes, his normal 3 tomo pattern shifting into something like an atom with 3 ellipses stacked together. Where are you going? Surziches asked, concerned for his brother. To make myself able to kill a battalion so this does not happen again. Naruto said as he went off to train to prevent such a thing from happening again. 5 years into civil war. After that incident, Naruto had become much more powerful. The trauma from seeing his dead friend had somehow resulted in an evolution of his eyes into a stage called the Manjikyu Sharingan. He had the ability to use and control black flames that were hotter than any member of the House of Phoenix, and his flames burned continuously for 7 days and 7 nights, with no amount of water being able to put them out. He also gained the ability to manifest a giant ethereal warrior made of energy to fight. He had also delved into time-space magic, trying to come up with a way to make a battle-capable teleportation technique that would eclipse his current top speed using the lighting armor. Surziches, Ajuka, Serafal and their team were stuck between a rock and a hard place. They had been tipped off on a possible supply route used by the old Satan faction and had hoped to end the war faster by cutting off the old Satan faction supplies. But it had been a trap and now 2 whole battalions of the old Satan faction had them trapped with no possible point of escape. About half their team had already been killed off and the remainder were now hiding behind a cliff waiting for the inevitable end. It seems like this would be the end. It's been good serving with all of you. Ajuka said. It would seem so, old friend. Surziches replied. The feeling is mutual. Serafal stated. If we go down, at least we go down with a bang. Surziches said before an object fell out of his pocket. It was a knife. Except this was no ordinary knife. First off, it had 3 prongs and a thick wooden handle that had some sort of runic array. Surziches remembered that it was something Naruto had given him for use in emergencies. What is this, brother? Surziches asked as he took a strange-looking knife from Naruto. That is a key piece for a new technique that I am working on. If I can get it to work as well as my theories, then I will finally be able to fulfill my promise of being capable of killing battalions. Naruto said with a hint of pride. How does it work? Surziches asked. I haven't really worked it out yet, but basically you just have to be thrown it down and I can be there in an instant. Naruto said. Might as well give it a shot. Surziches thought as he threw the knife into the ground, surprising both Serafal and Ajuka. Surziches, what was that? Ajuka asked. His curiosity piqued by the runic array present on the knife. I don't know. Naruto said to throw it down in case of an emergency. He said that was the key to his newest technique. Surziches said. Just as he finished that sentence there was a crimson flash and Naruto appeared next to them. What was that? And how did you get here so quickly? Serafal asked as she landed unceremoniously on her butt after jumping in the air from shock. No time to explain. I need you all to follow my instructions carefully. Naruto said as he emptied the contents of his pack, revealing more of the odd 3-pronged knives. Alright then, I'll trust you to handle this. Surziches said. When I give the signal, I need you to throw these around the battlefield. Accuracy does not matter. What we need is coverage. Naruto said as he distributed the knives out. Alright, we are set. Surziches said as everyone got ready to throw the knives. Here goes nothing. Naruto said as he charged power to his right eye, closing it. He faced the oncoming enemies and opened his eye, focusing on the center of the enemy forces. From the focus point of his right eye, a column of black flames emerged, burning to death the enemies that were caught in the area. Now. Naruto shouted as the old Satan faction forces were forced to separate to avoid the black flames. A rain of metal fell on the battlefield with a few of the knives impaling enemies, while most landed harmlessly in the ground. Hahaha. Was that your desperate last attempt? Now we get to kill all the aces of the anti-Satan faction. And with this a new war can begin. The leader of the enemy forces proclaimed. Don't blink now. Naruto said simply as he held a sword in each hand, focusing lightning magic through the blades to make them sharper. Then he was gone in a flash of red, and what followed was possibly the greatest massacre anyone could see. There were flashes of red all around the enemy forces as Naruto picked them apart. He appeared wherever a kunai was and decimated any nearby force before appearing at another location in an instant. My word. Ajuka managed to mutter while his 2 companions still had their jaws on the floor. So this is the power of time-space magic, Surziches muttered, having been made aware of what his younger brother had been up to recently. Their brother has been dabbling in time-space magic. That certainly explains how he is doing this. Ajuka said. I don't understand. Isn't he just moving really fast? Serafal asked. No. He is essentially teleporting from location to location. That is how he is able to change his orientation without any loss in momentum and how he can change directions without repercussion. Ijuka explained. Those knives act as markers, I presume? Surziches asked as he watched the last few enemies be killed off. I would think so. They give off a marking pulse that tells him where to emerge. The specifics of this technique are fascinating, and to be able to create something so formidable so quickly, he is nothing short of a prodigy. Ijuka said as Naruto appeared next to them. Well, that takes care of that problem. Come on. Let's go home. Naruto said as he cleaned the blood from his blade. From that battle, Naruto earned the moniker of the Red Flash and also the name Crimson Reaper. With the deployment of the Flying Thunder God technique as it came to be named, the anti-Satan faction was making a strong push against the old Satan faction. They were able to quickly send aid as each person carried a marker on their person, allowing entire squads to be teleported behind enemy lines, or they allow the transport of supplies. Within a year from that battle, the civil war had come to an end, and Surziches, Ijuka, Serafal, Falbium and Naruto were praised as the heroes of devil kind. It was also after the war that it was discovered that Naruto's eye powers had a steep cost. A year after the end of the civil war. So what is the diagnostic doc? Venelana asked as her son walked out of the room. He had been acting strange towards the end of the war, and the Gremory had suspected that it had something to do with his eyes. Do you want the bad news or the worse news? The doctor said. Just tell them. I can't hide it anymore, it seems. Naruto said, a little annoyed since he never enjoyed going to any treatment facility. Your son is going blind. The doctor said. What? Why? When? The family asked in shock. Apparently the usage of my eye powers heavily during the war has damaged them, and I will eventually go blind. My vision is already blurry as is, and if I stop using my eyes, it is estimated that my vision will deteriorate gradually till I go completely blind in 30 years. Naruto said. Is there anything that could be done? Lord Gremory asked. Unfortunately, no. His eyes are unique, and we don't know what could happen if we tried anything, but we will keep looking into this. The doctor assured. After that, Naruto was constantly coddled by his parents, and they forbade him from fighting in any of the side skirmishes that had been occurring with the other factions, as well as the old Satan faction that still refused to accept defeat. It was one night that Naruto had a vision. In his vision he saw a man with similar eyes to his own in battle with someone with what seemed like a multi-headed and multi-handed fox avatar. Beyond that he saw a wizened old man with purple eyes that had concentric circles in a ripple pattern. Following that vision, he would receive glimpses of events that he had no recollection of going through, yet he experienced them in vivid detail, as though he had gone through those events. After many nights of said vision, Naruto finally resolved to try and find the meaning behind his eyes and hopefully a cure to his blindness. He believed the answer lay with the old man who had purple eyes with concentric circles in them. So one night he just up and left his family, leaving a note telling him that he had left. Dear mother, father and brother, I am sorry to not be able to say goodbye in person, but I know that if I had done that then you would never allow me to leave. I need to go and explore the world and find the truth behind my eyes. I also want to do some soul searching after all that I experienced during the war. So please understand and leave me be till I find my answer. I promise that I will return back to your side once more. This isn't goodbye. It's until we meet again. Naruto Gremory. What do we do? Venelana asked almost hysterically as her youngest son had mysteriously disappeared. We should send people to look after him and bring him back. Lord Gremory said. No father, we should leave him alone. Surziches said. Are you serious? But what if something bad happens to him? Lord Gremory said with worry evident in his voice. He will be fine. We just need to have faith in him like we always do. Naruto is not one to do things without reason. If he needs to be alone then we should leave him be. He will return. Surziches said resolutely as the family's thoughts drifted off to their youngest member. 50 years after Naruto left the underworld, Naruto Gremory felt the sun's rays stream through his bedroom window. He tried to ignore the annoying light and return back to his peaceful slumber, but failed to do so. He blinked his eyes a few times to adjust to the change in light before fully taking in his surroundings. He was currently in his house in Yakai territory. He smiled as he looked down to a mop of golden hair that belonged to his first love and first peerage member, his queen, Yasaka, a Kyuubi and the former leader of the Yakai faction. The two of them had met when Naruto was traveling with a person who had taken on a similar place in his life as Takeo once did, a brother in all but blood. At first he and Menma were like rivals, but beyond that they had some inexplicable bond between them that was eventually explained at the apex of the secret war. At that time, Naruto was journeying across the lands, trying to find the truth behind his eyes. He decided to follow Menma and his teacher at that time, one of the 3 legendary Yakai, Jiraiya the Toad Sage. He bumped into Yasaka while they were in Kyoto when she was still just a new ruler of the Kyoto Yakai faction. The two instantly hit it off, and not long after Naruto and Menma returned from the war, Yusaka stepped down from her post so that she could spend her time with Naruto, handing the post over to Menma. Thinking about Yusaka and how the two met made him think about his decision to revive her as his queen. Not long after he had left, his brother had taken the title of Lucifer, while Ajuka took the title of Beelzebub. Ajuka had developed something called the Evil Pieces system in order to try and bolster the decline in devil population caused by the war by reviving other races as devils. He recalled having returned to the underworld for a short while to meet up with his parents and gain a set of evil pieces from himself just a month ago. It's been a while, Ajuka. A disembodied voice said as Ajuka was working in his private lab. Who's there? What is your intention of sneaking up on me? Ajuka spoke as he flared his aura. A whirling black vortex appeared in the room and a familiar person emerged from it. Now, there is no need for hostility. I am after all the younger brother of your best friend. Naruto said as he materialized fully in the room. Naruto? It's been quite a long time. Where have you been? Are you back for good now? Ajuka asked as he gave a hug to the person he saw as a younger brother. Unfortunately there are still things that I need to do. I was actually looking to get a set of evil pieces from you. Naruto said. Yes of course. Ajuka said as he retrieved a box from his shelf that had Naruto's name on it together with the Gremory family insignia. Thanks. I'm surprised you had one ready for me already. I presume that I just need to hand the piece to someone, then say the ritual words for it to work. Naruto said as he opened the box, the king piece melding with his body. Yes. Your set is special. It is one of the original sets that have fewer limits as compared to the newer sets that are issued. And it seems that most of your pieces have undergone some sort of change, not unlike a mutation piece, but different at the same time. Ajuka said as Naruto's pieces radiated with power. I see. That would make sense, since some greedy devils would probably get themselves killed trying to convert high-profile and strong people. Anyway I shall see you around Ajuka. Naruto said before he was consumed by a swirling black vortex and left the room. The Gremory family was currently enjoying a short tea break, with Surziches being present as well to have some form of respite from his duties as Lucifer. They saw a black vortex appear in the room and were immediately on guard. Hello Ka-san, Tu-san, Nai-san. Naruto said as he appeared in the room. Naruto? You have returned. Lord Gremory said. My baby boy is back. Venelana said as tears of joy flowed from her violet orbs. It's good to see you again little brother. Surziches said as the family shared a hug. I'm sorry for just leaving like that. Unfortunately I am not here to stay. Naruto said seriously. But why not son? What about your condition? Lord Gremory asked. There are still things I need to do and do not worry. My eyesight has been fully restored. In fact my eyes are more powerful than ever before. Naruto said as his eyes changed from their regular blue-green into his Manjikyu form that now had a tri-bladed pinwheel in the overlapped ellipses. Then his eyes shifted once more as it turned completely purple with 4 concentric circles in a ripple pattern and 6 tomo, 3 on each of the 2 innermost rings. His family could feel the power practically radiating from his eyes. When will you be able to return to us for good? Venelana asked, sad that her son couldn't stay. I have some loose ends to tie up and I also need to gather my peerage. I should be able to return after that. I decided to drop by since I just received my evil pieces from Ajuka. Well then, this is till we meet again. Naruto said before he disappeared in a swirling vortex. Any for your thoughts dear? Yusaka asked as she snapped Naruto out of his musing, pressing her voluptuous body against him and tracing the many scars that now littered his body. It was nothing Yusaka-chan. Just thinking that's all. Naruto said trying to drop the subject. You had that look again that usually comes only on that day. Something is bothering you? Yusaka said, her expression telling him that she demanded an answer. It seems that I cannot hide anything from you my queen. Naruto said with a half-hearted chuckle. I wouldn't be a good queen if I couldn't understand my king well. Yusaka said. Home? Naruto replied. If you are so eager about getting home then why don't we get started on building that peerage of yours? Yusaka said as she got up into a sitting position, giving Naruto an eyeful of her cleavage since they both slept naked. I guess you are right. We should get started on that soon. Naruto said as he got up and the two went to shower together to prepare for their journey. Well this is goodbye for now I guess Menma. Naruto said as he gave a firm handshake and brotherly hug to the current leader of the Yokai faction. Naruto was dressed in black pants and combat boots with a long-sleeved dark gray shirt together with a light blue formal vest. He had fingerless gloves and a pouch around his waist. Over that he had a black cloak and his katana was strapped to his side behind him by a string across his torso. His hair was drastically different now as it covered one eye and was less spiky than it was in the past. I hope you will come visit again brother. And take good care of Yusaka. Menma said. Menma was dressed in black pants and black combat boots. He had an orange shirt with black stripes at the cuffs and bottom, and over that he wore a white cape that had white flames on the bottom. His blonde hair was spiky like Naruto's was in the past, except without the chin-length bangs framing his face. "Thank you for your hospitality all this time, Menma-sama," Yusaka said with a polite bow as she wore her usual shrine maiden outfit but with a black cloak over top to help disguise her features and also mask her energy signature. "It was no problem at all, Yusaka. Have a safe trip," Menma said. Yusaka-chan. "I have found an interesting world to visit," Naruto said as he created a purple portal using a shadow clone of himself. They gave one last wave goodbye to Menma before disappearing through the portal for parts unknown. Freezing world. Naruto and Yusaka stood atop a skyscraper some distance away as human females who had undergone enhancement to become Pandora battled with an alien creature known as a Nova. He watched with a blank face as the Pandora tried and failed to deal any lasting damage to the new Nova class that appeared. What finally piqued Naruto's interest was a new arrival. She wore a different outfit than the other Pandora, consisting of a long flowing blue dress. What intrigued Naruto was how she was able to figure out how to deal lasting damage to the Nova. "It seems she has quite the skill set," Naruto mused. "Are you looking to recruit her, Naruto-kun?" Yusaka asked. "Yes. It would seem that these stigmata have their drawbacks. They can exert their own influence on the person since they act as external matter." "Interesting. I wonder what will happen when I revive her." "Yusaka-chan, I want you to dispose of that thing. I will cast an illusion on the people in the area," Naruto said as he looked up at the moon, his eyes morphing into the Rinnegan. "Hi, Naruto-kun. I await your signal," Yusaka said as she prepared her foxfire. "Tsukiyomi," Naruto muttered as he focused on the moon, using it to cast a wide-range illusion that would prevent anyone from noticing them. To most people, it would seem that Kazuha had taken out the Nova in a suicide attack that would claim her life, but there would be no body. Yusaka used this to jump in and destroy the Nova, using her foxfire to destroy the Nova's core. Kazuha was on the ground in pain as several blade-like appendages jutted out of her back. "Do you want to live?" Naruto asked as he approached Kazuha. "Who are you?" Kazuha responded. "Who I am is not important right now. But what is important is your decision. Do you want to live? I can save you if you want me to," Naruto said. "Please do. I cannot leave my little brother alone," Kazuha managed to say as her vision was blurry. "Such a pure soul, if the angels could bolster their numbers, you would have probably been selected to be one of them. Now then, you shall be reborn as my knight, rejoice with your new life," Naruto said as he converted Kazuha into his knight. He left the scene with her unconscious body to help heal any injuries that might still lingering while planning what else to do in this world. 6 years after Kazuha became a devil. Inside a room of a quaint little two-story house located not far from West Genetics Academy, moans and the lewd sound of flesh smacking against flesh could be heard as Naruto sought into Kazuha while making out with Yusaka. They were currently enjoying some alone time, and Yusaka already had her turn, the white cream leaking from between her legs, evidence of their earlier actions. Naruto groaned as he felt his member being wrapped around Kazuha's warmth as she bounced up and down, her moving hypnotically as Naruto met her movements with his own upward thrust. "Kazuha-chan, I can't hold on anymore," Naruto groaned as he felt a familiar pressure build up within him. "I can't hold on much longer too. Do it inside, please. Fill me up with your seed, Naruto-sama," Kazuha screamed out as her orgasm hit her. Her inner muscles squeezing Naruto's member, milking his seed as Naruto pumped his hot baby batter deep into her core. It has been 6 years since Kazuha had been brought back as Naruto's knight. After clarifying things with Dr. Gengo Aoi, they came up with a cover story on how Kazuha was able to survive. Something that was easily done since her body was never found and with the help of some clever illusions on Naruto's part. Kazuha had adapted well to the life of a devil and given her already vast skill set, was a formidable knight. Since becoming a devil, the stigmata implanted within her had become a part of her body, thus preventing any risk of her turning into Nova. In fact, it made her stronger than ever before. Over that 6 years, Kazuha had fallen for Naruto, who had become her limiter to allow her freedom of movement. Although she was a little put off by the concept of sharing him with Yusaka, she eventually accepted that she would have to share him since his power would naturally attract people to him. The three were currently having their usual sessions to deepen their relationship and also to relieve any stress. Kazuha had graduated from Genetics Academy now and decided to be a member of the reserve forces so that she could dedicate more time to serving Naruto. It seems that she had developed an odd masochistic kink over time and would always want to be dominated by Naruto during their sexual acts. Kazuha fell onto Naruto's chest as she felt the warmth from her core. She felt Naruto's hand stroke her hair gently. She snuggled into his chest as she let out a content sigh from his comforting touch. "Kazuha-chan, your brother starts at West Genetics Academy today, right?" Naruto asked. "Yes. He left for the campus yesterday. Today should be his first school day. I hope he can fit in." Aside from you two, he doesn't really get to know other people. Kazuha said, her thoughts drifting off to her younger brother. I'm sure he will be fine. The issue is his powers though. Given his much higher stigmatic body percentage as compared to you, I would think that he might face great risks with his powers. Naruto said. But grandfather said that there should be no issues given that his situation is different from mine due to gender. Kazuha stated. Is there anyone else that you want in your peerage from this world, Naruto-kun? Yusaka asked. Yes, there is one. One of the legendary Pandoras. Naruto stated. One of my aunts. Kazuha wondered. Yes. Her name is Lucy, I believe. LP number 004. I think she would make a fine addition to my peerage as a bishop. Naruto said as he materialized the file on her. So when will you be asking grandfather to let you convert her? Kazuha asked. Soon, my dear. There is no need to rush. We have after all agreed to help out with the problem of the Nova. Naruto said. Time skip end of Nova attack on humanity. Well then I guess this is goodbye. Naruto said to the others as he opened up a portal to enter another dimension. Will I ever get to see you again, Mi-san? Kazuya asked as he regarded his sister who was about to leave, possibly for good. Maybe. But do not worry. Even if we do not see each other again, we will always be together in our hearts. Sadlizer, I leave my brother in your care. If anything happens to him, Kazuha said with a sickly sweet smile that made Sadlizer nod her head immediately in fear. Take care, Lucy. Thanks for all your help, Naruto. Dr. Aoi said as he gave his daughter a hug. It was no problem. It was definitely a fun 10 years here. Naruto said. Where will we be going now, Naruto-kun? Lucy asked as she went to Naruto's side after saying goodbye to her sisters. Lucy had somehow made an instant connection with Naruto and was more than happy to accept the position of his bishop. At first it was hard to communicate with a girl who seemed to be able to show little emotion, choosing instead to express herself through more physical means, but Naruto managed to get her to open up and now she could act like a normal person and was better able to express herself. Although Naruto sighed to himself at how he seemed to be adding more people to his harem. Of course Lucy was not as adverse to the concept of sharing as Kazuha initially was, since she had little to no social development before being turned into a devil. Well, it's been an interesting ride with all of you. From the 10th Nova clash to Alaska to the attack by the Busters and to the final battle. There was never a boring moment here, but we should be going. Goodbye. Naruto said with a final wave before jumping through the portal, his peerage close behind him as they went on their next adventure. Sakurai World. Naruto and his peerage stood on top of one of the skyscrapers overlooking Shinto-Tito as they discussed the information they had gathered of this world. Years ago, an alien ship with beings called Sakurai landed on an island. The current MBI was the first to discover the ship and make use of its technology for profit. The Sakurai had come to Earth seeking out their Ashikabi or destined ones, and the CEO of MBI, one Hiroto Manaka, had decided to make a game out of it, and that did not sit well with Naruto. So Naruto had decided to throw a wrench in his plans. But the first thing on the agenda was to try and seek out the Sakurai that was having a reaction to him. At Izumo Inn. Mia could not believe the feeling that she was having at the moment. Her whole body was heating up. She knew the feeling, being the Sakurai pillar, but she had not thought it to be possible. She was reacting to someone. But as the Sakurai pillar, that should not be possible given her power level. She tried to reach out to the person she was reacting to, calling him to her. It filled her with an unbelievable sense of glee that she would have an Ashikabi, but at the same time a sense of dread filled her. What kind of person is her Ashikabi? What plans did he have for the Sakurai race? But Naruto and his peerage. They were currently traversing the territory of Shinto-Tito, heading towards the place where Naruto felt the Sakurai reacting to him was. They arrived outside an inn, and Naruto confirmed that this was where the reaction was strongest. Deciding that they needed a place to stay for now anyway, Naruto gave a knock and greeting, seeing no harm in trying. Mia picked herself up and went to answer the door. She could feel the reaction becoming stronger as she got closer to the entrance of the inn. When she arrived at the entrance to greet her guests, she came upon a handsome young man in his 20s with blue-green eyes and crimson hair. Upon laying her eyes upon him, Mia felt the heat grow stronger. She tried to compose herself as she took note of the 3 female companions together with the male. Yes, can I help you? Mia asked. We were looking for a place to stay and saw the sign. Are any rooms still available? Naruto asked while walking nearer to the woman, confirming his suspicion that this was the Sakurai he was reacting to. Yes, it still is, Mia said, asking for his name without actually asking the question. The name's Naruto. Naruto said with a warm smile. Mia was unable to control herself any longer and approached him, placing her hands on his cheeks, causing Naruto to raise an eyebrow before she crashed her lips to his. A massive burst of energy was released by both Naruto and Mia as their energies seemed to mingle and join together. Radiant purple wings of light emerged from Mia's back as their lips finally parted. Sakurai number 01, Mia. My blade shall cut down the enemies of my Ashikabi. I am yours forever, my destined one. Mia said as the energy died down. It seems like I was right. You were the one reacting to me. Although I am surprised to find out the Sekirei pillar is the one that reacted to me. Naruto mused. You knew. But how? Mia wondered. Simple. The bond is a two-way street, my dear. Now then, we can discuss more inside. Naruto said as Mia agreed and led them inside, where he promptly put up privacy seals and began the long discussion and explanation. Okay, so let me get this straight, you are all devils with Naruto as your king or master. You came here from another dimension because you wanted to gather members for your peerage, and when you were searching for a suitable place you happened to discover a weak link to me, and that brought you here. Mia said as she summarized everything that she had learned thus far. That is basically it. So do you accept my offer of becoming my second knight? Naruto asked as he summoned his knight piece. Before I accept, what do you intend to do with regard to the Sekirei plan? Mia asked. Simple. I intend to end this. I know of the kill switch and fear not, I have the perfect plan to stop this. I promise you the Sekirei will be free to find their destined ones. Naruto replied. Then I accept your offer. I vow to protect you with everything that I have as your knight, my Ashikabi-sama. Mia said. Very well then. Mia, I order you return to this world as my knight. Rejoice with the new life that you have been granted. Naruto said as he finished converting Mia into a devil. So what happens now? Mia asked as she felt a lightness unlike anything before. She felt the bond with her Ashikabi become even stronger than what it was before. Now we plan to stop the Monaka and his stupid game. Naruto said with a sly grin. Time skip. 10 years after arrival to the world of Sekirei. Within a year after Mia's winging by Naruto and subsequent conversion into his knight, Naruto had successfully foiled Monaka's game. He had forced the game to speed up with the help of his peerage, such that Monaka was forced to reveal his true intentions before he used Mia's dormant link to all Sekirei as their pillar to free any of the Sekirei that were forcibly winged, adding an additional safety that would prevent any future forced winging. The Jinki had been destroyed, and any evidence of the Sekirei had been wiped out with the help of a worldwide illusion. Now the Sekirei were able to find their destined ones just as Naruto had promised Mia. Naruto had decided to travel the world here since it was so similar to his old one without the supernatural factions or alien threats. So the group traveled the world for 9 years and now it was finally time to leave after finding another world that interested them. Where are we going off to now, Naruto-kun? Yusaka asked as she leaned her head against Hit's shoulder. As his harem was starting to grow with the addition of Mia, he had come up with an agreement that Yusaka would be the alpha in the harem, given how long they had known each other. And they had also come up with a sharing schedule. Well, there is another world that has caught my interest. Naruto said as he materialized a portal to another world. What is so special about this world, Naruto-sama? Lucy and Kazuha asked. Well, this world has yokai like our original world, but that is all they have. They do not have any supernatural factions, and rather than the Kyuubi being the top of the food chain, the Shinso vampires are at the top. One Shinso vampire in particular interests me greatly. Naruto said. I'm looking forward to exploring and learning about other worlds. Mia said. Well then, let's get going. Naruto said as he jumped through the portal together with his peerage. World of Rosario Vampire. This isn't going very well at all. Alucard and his forces have managed to separate us. What am I going to do now? Akasha Bloodriver thought to herself as she waited for the impending enemy forces. A purple portal appeared in front of her and out stepped a crimson-haired young man, followed by 4 women behind him. Why hello there, miss. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. Naruto said while grabbing Akasha's hand and planting a delicate kiss on her knuckles. Akasha felt heat rise up to her cheeks as she had to admit that the young man in front of her was definitely attractive. She pulled away and took a battle stance. Who are you and what is your business here? Akasha said. Relax. I mean you no harm. If you don't believe me, why don't you just drink my blood? You can learn information by drinking blood, can you not? Naruto said as he tilted his head to allow her to see his bare neck. Akasha subconsciously licked her lips as she found the thought of drinking blood enticing, since it had been some time since her last drink. She begrudgingly accepted the offer, giving a tentative lick before sinking her teeth into the flesh. As the blood poured into her mouth, she found the taste addictive and the power of the man before her intoxicating. Her instincts demanded for her to take the man before her as a mate. But she fought it off, and after having her fill she regarded the man after sifting through the information she gained. I guess I owe you an apology, but what are you doing here, devil? Akasha asked, her poise still relatively guarded. My name is Naruto Gremory, and I'm here to make you an offer to become a rook in my peerage. Even if you do refuse, I would still like to aid you in ending this war because I despise conflict and the loss it brings. Naruto said. I will think about your offer, Naruto. I am Akasha Bloodriver. Akasha said. Even if you refuse, Akasha, there will be no bad blood. I respect everyone's freedom of choice and would never force you to join me nor join me out of any misplaced sense of obligation," Naruto said. He introduced the other members of his peerage before they got to work dealing with the impending enemy forces. Time skipped, but the help of Naruto and his peerage, the war with Alucard was quick to end and the Shinso was sealed away for good with a seal that was designed to sap away his strength to power the seal, thus creating a never-ending loop that would prevent his escape. Akasha had become addicted to the taste of Naruto's blood and Naruto was more than happy to oblige for a drink. After much thought, Akasha accepted the offer of becoming his rook and even went so far as to mark him as her mate, of course, recognizing that she would have to share him with the other women. Naruto had made it expressly clear that Yusaka was the alpha in the harem and Akasha didn't really mind so long as Naruto loved her and allowed her to drink his blood. It was now more than 30 years since Naruto and Yusaka had first left their world and Naruto felt that it was finally time to return back to their own world. He opened up a portal and leapt through it, his peerage following behind him. They appeared in a forest clearing that was some distance away from the base in Kyoto so as not to attract attention. Naruto-kun, that magic circle. Yusaka trailed off as a blue magic circle appeared and from it emerged a beautiful blue-haired woman with a voluptuous figure, wearing a white button shirt that had the top 3 buttons undone, showing a great deal of cleavage and a tight skirt that barely reached her knees. "Who is that Naruto-kun?" Miya asked. Her stance tense as she felt the power from the person that came through the portal. The rest of the peerage members shared a similar sentiment as they prepared themselves for battle. The female Dragon King Tiamat, also known as the Chaos Karma Dragon. "What are you doing here?" Naruto asked as his hand hovered over his sword. "Your power interests me greatly. You have a great amount of power. So much so that you are undetectable to anyone less than ultimate class due to your power being unfathomable by them. I also detected a great deal of chaos from here, so I was curious. And here I find a devil that has been crossing dimensions. Most intriguing. I shall have you entertain me, devil," Tiamat said as she appeared before Naruto, covering the distance in an instant, surprising Naruto who had not been expecting her to move that fast. He could barely register anything before he felt the world spin and he was at different location alone with Tiamat. "What do you want from me, Dragon King?" Naruto asked, taking a stance but nor bothering with a sword since he knew a regular blade would hardly be useful against a dragon. "I would like to test your power. That is all," Tiamat stated simply. "Then how about we have a little wager?" Naruto said. "A wager? Go on," Tiamat replied. "If I can interest you enough then I want you to join my peerage as my second rook," Naruto said. "Let's see if you can survive this, devil," Tiamat said as she blurred towards Naruto. This time Naruto was ready for her speed and made his body intangible. Tiamat's attack passing harmlessly through him as he leapt backwards to give himself some room. Given a glimpse of his power, Tiamat's dragon instincts were screaming to her to take this handsome young devil as her mate to give her progeny. She shook of those thoughts as she continued to glare at the devil. His power was much greater than hers. It felt like a massive ocean, a feeling comparable to Office and Great Red and one other person currently in the world. "You are definitely strong. As expected of the strongest Dragon King. If I didn't have my reflexes or my time-space migration, I might have died," Naruto said. "Enough talking, devil. Show me what you've got," Tiamat growled out. "I really do not want to hurt a pretty woman such as yourself, so I will try my best to subdue you peacefully." "Adamantine sealing chains," Naruto said as he slammed his hand into the ground. A magic circle appeared below Tiamat and chains emerged. The chains wrapped around her body and she could feel her energy slowly being sapped away by the chains. Tiamat knew that she could break the chains easily, after all they were not meant to be a permanent form of restraint, but she refused because Naruto had unknowingly flipped her switch and turned her on. Naruto raised a brow in confusion when he saw that Tiamat was not struggling against the chains. Although they did use the energy absorb as reinforcement, a simple burst of power could overload the chains and free her. He tilted his head in bewilderment when she mouthed something and had a faint blush on her face. "What did you just say?" Naruto said, not understanding what was happening. "Tighter," Tiamat muttered in a meek voice. All the previous confidence and animosity in her voice was gone. "The chains. Make them tighter," Tiamat demanded. Naruto took a step back in shock but complied nonetheless, figuring out what was going on and both cursing and praising his luck. It seemed that the women he encountered were either closet masochists or they were prudes that became sexual deviants in the room. It would seem that Tiamat was a closet masochist, judging by her flushed face as the chains tightened around her body. Naruto could not help but smirk now that he had the Dragon King eating out of the palm of his hand. "So you want me to tie you up, eh, you naughty Dragon King?" Naruto said with a grin as he tightened the chains further, drawing moans from Tiamat. "Yes. Give me more. Tie Tiamat up more," Tiamat said as she writhed in pleasure and her moans were increasing in volume. Naruto shifted the position of the chains into a more classic rope bondage style that he had used on Kazuha and Lucy before, causing the Dragon King to let out lewd moans as her large were restrained by the chains and her womanhood was being teased a chain around her crotch. My what a naughty Dragon King you are. Naruto said with a smirk as he snapped his fingers, making them both naked. Tiamat could not help but stare at his massive member which was rock hard. She licked her now dry lips. So Tiamat, if you agree to become my rook, I promise to please you and you will become one of my mates. Your arousal is quite evident now. Naruto said as he walked towards Tiamat, willing the chains to move her arms behind her back. Tiamat managed to give him a weak glare, but Naruto could tell it was just a false defiance. He appeared behind the Dragon King, his left hand toying with her, tweaking her occasionally. His right hand manipulated the chain around her dripping snatch, causing more of her juices to flow out. Never. Tiamat will never become a servant to some devil, no matter how powerful and good-looking you are. Tiamat said, trying to sound defiant, but her voice had taken a much higher pitch ever since her switch had been flipped. She had also taken to referring to herself in the third person. She growled when she felt the chains loosen. Oh well then. We could have enjoyed so much fun together in our S&M plays. After all, 2 members of my peerage are masochists too, so I do know how to please people like you. Naruto said as the chains were slowly starting to let go of Tiamat. Tiamat has been a bad dragon and needs to be punished before she can serve you, Naruto-sama. Please punish this naughty Dragon King and make her your slave. Tiamat cried out, finally giving in to her instincts. With pleasure, my dear. Naruto said as he tightened the chains once more. He converted Tiamat into his rook before proceeding to have his way with her. This would be the day that Naruto Gremory was able to convert the strongest Dragon King using sex. Naruto and Tiamat appeared back where his peerage was. Tiamat had a flushed face and a limp in her step. Combined with the glow she had, the other peerage members immediately knew what had happened between the two. Well then, we should get going back to our base. I need to convene with Menma. Naruto said as he teleported his peerage to his base in the Yakai faction territory. Nice to see you again after so long, brother. Menma said as he greeted Naruto with a firm handshake and hug. It's nice to be back as well. Has anything interesting been happening? Naruto asked as he took a sip of tea. Not really, but quite a lot has happened in the underworld since you left. I guess for you the biggest development is that many amongst the 3 factions assume you dead. Also, you have a younger sister now. In fact, she was just recently born and your parents have named her the heir for the lordship of your house. Although I think that should change once you return. When exactly do you plan on returning? Menma said. Not until I have a full peerage at the very least. I'm almost done, I just need to get my pawns which I already have members set for. I should be able to return in another 5 years. Naruto said. I see. Could I ask you for a favor? Menma said. Of course. I don't mind doing things for you since you let me live here anyway. Naruto said. I need you to check on the population of Nekomata in the underworld in about 3 years' time. This should give you plenty of time to get reacclimatized with the world, right? Menma requested. Of course. Just remind me closer to the day. It was great catching up with you. Naruto said as he got up to leave. The feeling is mutual. Menma said as he went back to his paperwork with a sigh. Time skip 4 years. Naruto's peerage was now already complete, however, an unforeseen change had occurred that would derail all of his plans. Yusaka had become the first of his mates to become pregnant with a child of his. This was a joyous occasion, but Naruto also realized the repercussions of this as he still had multiple enemies gunning for his head and did not wish for any harm to befall his daughter. He had also been hearing from his spy network that there were traitors amongst the devils and that made him even more worried to return back to the underworld. Thus he opted to stay hidden away until his future child would be able to defend themselves or when he was certain that all the threats were gone. I'm going now. Naruto said as he grabbed his gear and got ready to go on the task asked of him by Menma. Please be safe, Naruto-kun. All of his mates stated. His pawns were all out gathering information for him and he rarely ever called them together. His pawns were divided into independent 2-man cells that had free reign of their lives but were required to complete any task he assigned according to parameters, thus they were rarely around. I will. I have you all to return to after all. Naruto said as he kissed all of them goodbye. He placed a mask over his face that cast an illusion to hide his appearance and power from being recognized. The mask was orange with a spiral design with a single eye hole. He was wearing a black cloak with red clouds over a lighter variation of his old combat attire. He had an ominous feeling about this mission and so it helped to be prepared. He left in a black swirl for the underworld. When he arrived in the underworld, there seemed to be a large event going on. Judging by the fact that Falbium was leading some sort of military procession towards the stadium and the other 3 Satans were waiting there based on what Naruto heard. Deciding that he needed more information, Naruto formed a single hand seal, creating 4 corporeal clones of himself. With a simple application of transformation magic, he sent his clones off to gather information while he headed off to the Nekomata settlement. As he neared the location specified by Menma, an overwhelming urgency took hold in his body. When he got there, he saw the Nekomata population surrounded by devils with clearly evil intentions. They were huddled together with the strong ones shielding the children and the elderly. Naruto jumped in between the group of Nekomata and devils, at the same time receiving the memories of the clones. He scared as he realized what was happening. One of the devil-eyes Nekomatas had killed their master, and as such the devils were trying to kill the rest of the Nekomata population, out of spite or retribution. But after being informed of the name of the master, Naruto had an inkling as to what truly happened, and he sighed at the blind fear exhibited by his race. "What do you think you are doing here? You are definitely a devil. Who are you?" The one Naruto assumed to be the leader of the group questioned with an authoritative tone. "Tobi is a good boy. Tobi is here because he was asked to help out his friend," Naruto said. "Whoever you are, please get out of the way. This is by order of the council. One of them has killed the heir of a household. This is their punishment," the leader said. "Tobi says you all are meanies who shouldn't be hurting people. You make them all sad. Tobi doesn't like people who make others sad," Naruto said as he cast an illusion that made all the devils fall to the ground. He turned his attention to the Nekomata population. "What do you want from us?" the leader of the Nekomata village asked as he was afraid of someone capable of putting so many devils under an illusion. "Relax. I am here by order of Menma-sama," Naruto said. "Menma-sama?" the village leader asked. "Oh, that's right, you guys don't know about the change in Yakai leadership. Yusaka has stepped down, and now Menma Namikaze, the son of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki, is in charge of the Yakai faction. I have already discussed the situation with him and he will provide you with sanctuary in Kyoto," Naruto said. "But how would you take us all there?" the village leader asked. "Just link your hands together," Naruto said. They did as told and Naruto placed a hand on the village leader's shoulder, focusing on the marker Menma had thrown down, he ported all of them to Kyoto. Stopping to catch a breath after from the strain of having to spread his energy to so many people at once. Naruto headed off to the direction of the military procession, intent on stopping a wrongly accused person from suffering the consequences for defending their loved ones. He calmly dropped in front of the military procession, halting its advance. "Halt. What is your business here?" Falbium stated. His usual lazy demeanor gone as he could tell that the person in front of him was strong. "Tobi is here for a cookie," Naruto said as bounced on the balls of his feet. "Answer us seriously, you cur. How dare you speak to one of the Satans like that? Move aside or be moved," one of the guards said. Naruto just tilted his head childishly. "Very well then, we are forced to resort to physical means so that the trial of the criminal is not interrupted," another guard said as he tried to push Naruto out of the way only to phase right through him. "Big shiny man is funny. Has Tobi been such a good boy that he gets to play with all of you?" Naruto said as he moved towards the place where the prisoner was being held. "Stop him," Falbium ordered. But none of the soldiers could actually touch Naruto. Naruto reached the carriage and freed Kuroka. "Who are you?" Kuroka asked. "I am here to help you. Now then, Katsu," Naruto said as he slammed his palm on the ground while tightly holding on to Kuroka who was blushing at the intimate contact. A large explosion could be seen from miles around. "What was that?" Ajuka asked as everyone took notice of the explosion. "That was where Falbium was," Seraphil said. "I'll go there myself and see what is happening." "Guards," Surzicha said as he was flanked by 10 patrolmen. They made their way towards the location of the blast and were surprised to see a heavily injured Falbium as well as the soldiers that accompanied him who were all unconscious. As soon as Surzichas approached Falbium, a sealing array on Falbium's body glowed and Surzichas found himself in a different location. "Hello, Nai-san," Naruto said as he greeted Surzichas. "Brother? What is this place?" Surzichas asked. The sky was red and both Surzichas and Naruto were black and white. "This is the Tsukiyomi world. One of my most potent illusions. It is the representation of the spiritual world in darkness," Naruto said stoically. "Where have you been, brother? Everyone has been worried about you. You have a little sister now," Surzichas said. "I know. I am just an impression of the real Naruto. I am here to tell you the truth about Kuroka's choice to kill her master as well to inform you that the events of today nearly caused you to start a war with the Yakai faction," Naruto said as he clarified the truth behind Kuroka's murder of her master, providing convincing evidence that would prove Kuroka innocent. But he knew the older devils would not accept this matter so simply. Devils were greedy creatures after all. "I implore you to put your foot down on this matter, brother. If you start a war with the Kyoto Yakai faction, then the devils will face extinction. The current leader of the Yakai faction, Menma Namikaze, is not someone any of you can hope to beat. And I will have to stand against you if such a war were to occur. The moon cannot stand against the sun. It seems the energy I left behind is just about used up," Naruto said as his fingers started fading. Wait, when will you return, Naruto? Surziches asked. When the time is right I will return. I have one last request, Surziches. Please take care of Kuroka's little sister for me. I cannot retrieve her without risking my identity, so please do it as a favor to your little brother. There are things that I still have to do. Till we meet again, brother. Naruto said before the world around them faded. Surziches blinked and found himself back where he originally was. In his hand was a file that contained all the evidence to prove Kuroka's innocence. Resolving to take Naruto's warning seriously, Surziches had Kuroka declared innocent and her sister Shirin was placed in the care of Rias. Many devils made a fuss about this, but Surziches threatened them, saying that Kuroka and the rest of the Nekomata were now under devil protection and they were more than welcome to risk war if they wanted vengeance so badly. Time skip. 11 years. 11 years had gone by. Naruto lived in relative peace in Yokai territory with his mates, while his pawns were off trying to make the world a safer place for his future family and also to watch over his current family. Yusaka had given birth to a beautiful girl that they named Kunu. Kunu had 9 tails and fox ears just like her mother, but inherited her father's red hair and unique eyes. Naruto and Yusaka decided to hide Kunu's appearance under an illusion to prevent anyone from linking Kunu to him, so as to keep her safe. To those who didn't know of her true appearance, she was a carbon copy of Yusaka and she was expressly told not to talk about who her father was. Kuroka had become clingy ever since she was saved by Naruto and eventually became the 7th person to join his harem as his bishop. He learned that Rias was now attending school in the human realm thanks to the people he had keeping tabs on her. He also learned of her engagement to Riser Phoenix, something that he was against. He had been reviewing the contract almost on a daily basis to try and find a way to break it while maintaining anonymity, knowing that Surziches would be unable to break it given his position as Lucifer. But the group had other matters to attend to. It would seem that things were stirring soon amongst the supernatural factions and his informants were painting a grim picture of a rising group of terrorists that would surely be a future threat. In addition to that, it would seem the Kuo and by extension Naruto's sister Rias was the epicenter of many of the coming storm. Morning sun. Naruto muttered as the streams of light from the curtain fell on his eyes, disturbing his sleep. He tried to move his arms but could only move his right one since his left arm was currently being trapped by both his daughter and his queen. That's right, Kunu had a nightmare yesterday night and couldn't sleep so she came over. Naruto mused as he brought his right hand up to stroke his daughter's red hair lovingly. Look at you, Kunu. You will grow up to be such a beautiful woman. Soon daddy will have to beat all the bad boys who want to take you away from me with a stick. Naruto said quietly. Good morning, my king. Yusaka said as she gave a chaste kiss to his lips, Naruto a little stunned at first since he didn't realize she had woken up but quickly reciprocated. Good morning to you too, my beloved queen. Naruto said after they parted. Good morning, Akasama. Otu-sama. Kunu greeted sleepily as she rubbed the sleep out of her eyes. Good morning, my dear Kunu. Are you looking forward to spending the day with me and your Akasama? Naruto asked as he gently kissed her forehead. Kunu nodded her head vigorously, excited to spend the day with her father and mother. The past years of her life had been hard since she couldn't talk about her father outside at all and they couldn't show much form of attachment. It wasn't that Naruto didn't trust Menma and the yokai. It was just that being supernatural beings, the yokai knew who he was and word travels fast. He figured it would be best that no one figured out that Kunu was his daughter, so to speak. But a few years ago, he had the genius idea of moving to Kuo since he heard that his little sister was coming here. This to him was the perfect opportunity to build his family in peace. The group were masquerading as humans and thanks to his runes, so long as they did not go above a certain level of power, they would be seen as human by anything supernatural or supernaturally aware. It not only allowed him to have some semblance of regular family life, but it also allowed him to watch over his little sister. Why don't we go and get ready together, Kunu? We can leave your father to get his work settled so that there won't be any distractions later. I'll even let you sit in my lap while I brush your hair. Yusaka said. But I want Otu-sama to brush my hair. Kunu said with a cute pout. Sorry dear. I have some things I need to do. Tell you what, if you be a good girl for me and follow your mother, I'll buy you ice cream today. Naruto said. Ice cream? Okay then. Kunu said as she jumped off the bed excitedly and headed to the bath. You spoil her too much. No, in fact you spoil all of us so much. Thank you for doing this for her. I know it would have been much easier for you if we stayed in Kyoto and you moved between here and Kyoto. Yusaka said as she snuggled into his chest. You should know that all of you are the most important things in my life now. Seeing all of you happy makes me happy. Besides, it wasn't much trouble. Thanks to shadow clones and illusions, everything was much simpler than I thought it would be. Anyway, best not keep our daughter waiting. I need to go check up with them before we leave. Naruto said as he got up out of bed and walked out the door. As he passed through the hallways, he got the memories of his clones that the rest of his mates spent the night with. Ever since he developed a way to use Menma's clone technique, he would make clones for all the other mates that he did not spend the night with so that they would still receive his affections. "Good morning, Mia-chan," Naruto said as he gave his purple-haired Sekirei a kiss. She was always an early riser and seemed to never have any morning fatigue despite some of the physical activities they would do at night. She and Kazuha had become the default cooks for meals as well as managing the upkeep of the home. "Good morning to you too, Naruto-kun. I would love to talk to you some more, but it is my turn today to prepare breakfast, so I should get going before the rest get down there," Mia said with a formal bow as she excused herself. "Good morning, Kuroka," Naruto said, giving the woman a kiss. At the same time placing a kiss on the bundle that was currently in her arms. Kuroka had given birth to a healthy baby hybrid a year ago. His son, Boruto, had red hair and according to Kuroka would have a red cat tail and cat ears when he finally manifested his features. Boruto had also inherited the Sharingan, something that Naruto was grateful for since they could do an eye swap between him and Kunu should the need arise to prevent blindness from the Manjikyu Sharingan. "Good morning, Naruto-kun. Naya. Is breakfast ready yet?" Kuroka asked as she bounced the bundle in her arms. "It should almost be ready. Mia went down earlier," Naruto said. Kuroka nodded and went in the direction of the dining hall. "Good morning, Kazuha-chan, Lucy-chan," Naruto greeted as he gave his two Pandora a morning kiss. "Good morning, Naruto-kun. Naruto-sama," they replied. "I should go see if Mia needs any help with breakfast. At the very least I can help her get the table set up," Kazuha said as she excused herself and headed off in the direction of the kitchen. "Would you like to follow me to the room?" Naruto asked. "No thank you, Naruto-sama. But thank you for the invitation. I would like to go and find Kuroka so that we may continue our word competition," Lucy said with a wicked grin before turning and walking in the opposite direction. "Honestly, I don't know what is worse, your flat dry puns and jokes or Kuroka's perverted teasing," Naruto said with a shake of his head, finding himself drawn to Lucy's derriere as she walked away. "Good morning, Tiamat-chan," Naruto said as he gave a kiss that jolted his still sleepy dragon awake. "Good morning to you too, Naruto-sama," Tiamat greeted happily. "I'm glad you enjoyed your kinky fun last night with my clone. I'll be sure to give you even more fun when it's your turn," Naruto said. "I look forward to it," Tiamat said as she sauntered away to grab breakfast. Naruto continued on his way towards the room at the very end of the walkway. Activating a runic array that would authorize his entrance, he shut the door behind him and activate various privacy and security runes. After all, it was always better to be safe than sorry in his mind. Screens illuminated all around the room, displaying various graphics and information, with a map of the world taking up the large center screen and several smaller screens explaining the markers that were present on the map. Naruto sat down in his chair as he went over the displayed information, making sure there are no discrepancies. "Report in," Naruto said as he rested his head in his arm. "We have been unable to locate any of the unaccounted Longinus thus far," Itachi said as he and Kisame were in a mountainous area tracking down leads to any Longinus that was not known to belong to any of the factions. "There seems to have been no movement from any of the old Satan faction. They seem to have gone quiet. Too quiet if you ask me," Kakashi said, throwing his 2 cents in. "Rizavum still has not been accounted for. But it would seem that his supporters are stirring, which is odd given that they did not participate in the civil according to your information and will only move under orders from Rizavum," Gaara said. "Itachi, Kisame, keep looking. We need to know the status of all the Longinus. Kakashi, Guy, keep your eyes open for any news on the old Satan faction. Also carry on checking on the informant network. Some of them have gone dark for some inexplicable reason. Gaara, A, B, keep trying to locate Rizavum. He is a dangerous threat and the fact that his forces are moving at all shows that something has piqued his interest." Naruto ordered his pawns. "Will do, Naruto-sama." They all responded before cutting off communications. Naruto sighed as he looked up at the world map deep in thought. Looking over the information on said map for probably the 100th time. "It's been a year since we moved from Kyoto. Thus far no one has discovered us yet, which I am thankful for. It's not that I don't want to return to the underworld or that I lack the power to protect my family. In an outright fight only Menma, Great Red and Office would be a problem for me. The main issue here are those working in the shadows. There are definitely traitors in the 3 factions. Add to that this cow's brigade stirring trouble. I just want Kunu, Boruto and my future children to be able to grow up safely and not have to be constantly monitored. They're kids. At least for now Kunu can grow up with some freedom, at least till I have to go back to the underworld. Hopefully this mess is resolved before Boruto is old enough to remember anything. The last thing I want is for any of my children to grow up during a time of war," Naruto said to himself. He shook his head from any depressing thoughts and went to get himself decent for breakfast. The Peerager family, as Naruto liked to call it, enjoyed a wonderful oriental breakfast that Miya had prepared with the help of Kazuha. Naruto was seated at the head of the table with Yusaka to his immediate right, Kunu to his left, and the rest of his pieces facing each other, in order of bishop, rook and knight. Boruto was being cradled and fed by Kuroko with some help from Akasha. It still amazed Naruto how he could keep this many powerful women satisfied and able to live together, but he attributed it to the use of shadow clones and also his devil stamina. Once breakfast was done, Naruto left behind a few clones to keep the rest of his mates company and also run the convenience store while he spent the day out with Yusaka and Kunu. Well, I'll see you ladies later. When my student turns up, bring him to the training room. One of my clones should be there to take care of him. Naruto said. Could I have a drink before you leave, Naruto-kun? Akasha asked shyly. Of course, dear. Naruto said, leaning his head off to the side to give her access to his neck. Once he was done, he turned his attention to Tiamat. I still don't understand why you elected to train the kid that has the boosted gear. He is a worthless human. He doesn't have any talent for anything. No talent for fighting, no talent for magic, heck the only he could do was be a pervert before you started training him. Tiamat said. Look Tiamat-chan. I get your animosity towards Drag, but can you imagine the power of the boosted gear in the hands of a pervert? What kind of horrors would be unleashed upon the world if we let someone whose brain is dangling between his legs run amok with a tool that has the potential to kill gods? Besides, look at Guy. He had no talent and right now he is one of the best hand-to-hand combatants, even if he can't use any form of magic. Naruto said, explaining his reasoning. A few months after Naruto and his peerage had arrived, he was alerted to the presence of the boosted gear in one Issei Haidu. The boosted gear was still dormant and if not for Naruto having his Rinnegan active, he wouldn't have noticed it at all. Even then the traces of the draconic sacred gear was faint at best. Naruto had decided to train the pervert and help him unlock his sacred gear. The main reason was that he shuddered at the thought of something with limitless potential in the hands of someone with balls for brain. Another reason was that the kid reminded him of Jiraiya. The third reason was that he was trying to steer the kid to becoming one of Ria's pieces, as selfish as that is. The boosted gear in the hands of a well-trained person would make for an excellent guardian to his little sister's peerage. Naruto had started Issei off on physical training, basing Issei's regime on his and Guy's personal training regime, but severely trimmed down since his regime was meant for devils and Guy's was not suitable for anyone else except Guy. Naruto had to admit that kid may have been a pervert, but he was definitely a driven learner and a hard worker. The kid even managed to awaken the base form of the boosted gear in the first month of training and was able to advance it into the usual gauntlet form. Then in 2 months following that, he had advanced it into its second liberation form, earning a new ability called Gift that allowed him to transfer his powers to others. Naruto was trying to figure out a way to get the kid to enter balance breaker form so that Issei could start getting acclimatized to using the scale mail, but according to Drag, Issei lacked that final push factor to get him to enter balance breaker. On the plus side, all that training actually helped to curb Issei's perverted tendencies, and Issei was happy to see that his reduced perverseness had made him more popular in school. I guess you are right there. And the kid's improvement is nothing to scoff at. Tiamat said with a huff. Well, we're off. Naruto said as he placed Kunu onto his shoulders, earning a giggle from the girl, while Yusaka looped one arm around his, her other one carrying a picnic basket. Please be safe, Naruto-kun, Yusaka. The peerage members said as they waved goodbye to their king and queen. So what would you like to do today, Kunu? Naruto asked his daughter, who was enjoying the view from her spot on his shoulders, nuzzling her cheek against the top of the head. I want to go to the park and play. Kunu said excitedly. Then to the park it is. Naruto said while striking a mock heroic pose. To the park. Kunu cheered, attempting to mimic her father. The family took a nice slow stroll to the park, enjoying the fact that for the moment there was nothing else in the world except the two of them. Once they reached the park, Naruto played with Kunu at the swings and slide, while Yusaka went off to find a spot to set up their little picnic. Yusaka sat down the picnic mat and set the basket off to the side since it was still a little early to eat anything just yet. She observed Kunu having the time of her life with her father and was thankful for having met and fallen in love with Naruto. She smiled serenely as she heard Kunu laugh when pushed by Naruto on the swings. Naruto was just content to make sure his daughter was having fun. He noticed Kunu stealing glances at a group of children. Why don't you go try and make friends and play with those kids, Kunu? Naruto said as he gestured to the group of kids that had attracted Kunu's attention. Are you sure it's alright too-san? Kunu asked. She never really interacted with anyone her own age, so she was a little shy. Go ahead, Kunu. Don't worry, me and your mother will be right there watching you. So go on and play with them. Naruto said as he gave a light push. Kunu took a few tentative steps before gaining the confidence to approach the group of children. She managed to introduce herself well and eventually started to join in with their games. She stole a glance at her father, who simply nodded his head before he turned to join Yusaka. It seems the Kunu is enjoying herself. Naruto commented as he sat down on the mat, leaning his back against the tree before pulling Yusaka onto his lap. Yusaka shifted around to get comfortable before she snuggled her body into his, leaning her head against his shoulder while feeling his arms wrap around her waist. You know, watching Kunu have fun like this really makes me happy that I met you all those years ago. I'm grateful. You not only taught me a lot about the world, but you also gave me love and a beautiful daughter. Yusaka said as she snuggled deeper into Naruto, enjoying his familiar warmth. Yes, I remember meeting you when you were a spirited young vixen who was still trying to make a name for herself as a princess of the Yokai faction. You were so uptight back then. I remember the first time I met you. Jiraiya was caught peeking at the bathhouses where you happened to be. Oh boy, what a mess it was. Menma and I had to do so much damage control to get his ass out of that fire. Naruto said with a melancholic smile. I'm sorry I brought up some sad memories. Yusaka said, recalling that Jiraiya was a sad subject for both Naruto and Menma. It's alright. He was like that perverted grandfather or uncle you liked a lot but always didn't want to tell people about. But that isn't the point, as sad as what happened is, I am grateful because thanks to him, I got to meet you. Naruto said as he placed a soft kiss on Yusaka's cheek. I'm thankful too, you know. Sigh, it seems that verbal tick is still there. At least Kunu doesn't seem to do it as often. Yusaka said. Probably because she isn't as hot-headed as you when you were her age. Naruto retorted playfully. True, she probably inherited her father's genius and calm personality. Yusaka said as she looked on lovingly at Kunu having a fun time with all the human children. But she inherited her good looks from her mother. Before too long I will have to beat back boys with a stick. She will have the guys dropping at her feet. Just like her mother. Oh, woe is me. It won't be long before I will be wondering where daddy's little girl disappeared to. Naruto said. Oh, you. Don't be such a dramatic. You know she will grow up eventually. But for now let us just enjoy having our little baby girl around. Yusaka said as she playfully slapped Naruto's chest before looking back at Kunu having fun. I will have to return to the underworld eventually, Naruto stated, leaving that statement in the air. I know. You wanted to return when your peerage was first completed, but then you decided not to since I got pregnant with Kunu. Then when Kuroka had Boruto you were even more against the idea of returning to the underworld. And now with Kazuha pregnant as well, I wonder when exactly you plan to return to the underworld. Yusaka said. Ideally I would not want to return now. At least like this all of my children get to grow up in peace without any responsibilities or expectations hanging over their heads. I want them to have a good childhood. If we go back to the underworld then they will undoubtedly live in my shadow and with the responsibilities of being part of the Gremory family. I don't want that. I want them to grow up and make their own choices without any voices telling them what to do. I don't want them to grow up like I did, constantly being compared to my brother. Naruto said, expressing all his worries to his queen. I know. You only want what's best for them. But you can't keep running away from this forever. Besides, even if there are dangers lurking within the underworld, we are all more than strong enough to protect them. And honestly, I think that it would be better to introduce them to that life sooner rather than later. Yusaka said while stroking his cheek lovingly, Naruto leaning into her hand and closing his eyes. Above that is how the society will perceive them. Many of the devils are idiots who believe that they need to keep the blood of upper-class devils pure. I don't want any of my children to be affected by that. Honestly, the idiocy of some members of the devil race makes me wonder why we haven't gone extinct. They keep promoting the idea of breeding and blood when all the abilities are tools. Tools that can doom someone if they become crutches. Naruto said bitterly, the engagement between Rias and Rise are coming to mind. He had a feeling that they wanted to create an offspring with both the power of destruction and the phoenix regeneration, thinking that the child would be invincible. My parents might not be as discriminatory as others, since we Gremory are particularly affectionate. Heck, my mother will probably be gushing at the thought of having grandkids to spoil, but the other devils definitely won't like the fact that I have offspring that are not pure in their eyes. I guess the only thing that offsets this is that if my kids inherit powers from both parents, then they would be strong, no doubt. And I hope that the concept that power is everything in the underworld applies. If so, then we won't have as much of a problem. Naruto said. Hey, enough of that depressing train of thought now. We are here to enjoy ourselves. Yusaka said while playfully biting Naruto's ear, causing him to groan. Oh my, is my vixen feeling a little playful today? Naruto said with a smirk as he flipped Yusaka around such that she was now snuggling into him and seated between his legs. Oh my, does my king wish to do indecent things with me? Can he not keep his beastly urges in check? Yusaka said playfully as she ground her pert rear against Naruto's crotch, making him muffle a groan and mock glare at her. Are you sure it's not the opposite? Is my vixen unable to control herself around me now? Naruto said as he suckled on a particularly sensitive spot on her neck, forcing Yusaka to bite her lip to stifle a moan. Naruto placed a kiss on her cheek before speaking once more. As much as I enjoy this, we can have our own private fun later. It's time for us to enjoy the food. Kunu. Naruto said as he called out to his daughter. Kunu ran up to her parents as they untangled themselves from each other. It's time to eat, dear. I'm sure you've had a little of fun, but you need some rest. Yusaka said. Hi, Akasama. Kunu said as she sat down on the mat, taking her favorite spot on her father's lap. Naruto pat her head lightly as Kunu proceeded to dig into the food that they brought with them. The family enjoyed the meal mostly in silence, as Yusaka and Naruto would take turns feeding each other, while Kunu was just comfortable being doted on by her mother and father. Well, Kunu, say goodbye to your friends, it's time to go. Naruto said as he helped Yusaka pack up the things. Kunu looked a little sad that it was time to leave already. Don't be so sad, Kunu. Your father still needs to fulfill his promise of getting you ice cream, remember? Yusaka said. At this, Kunu's eyes seemed to sparkle. She dragged her father with strength that shouldn't be possible for an 11-year-old and brought him to the ice cream stand where she ordered a triple scoop of mixed flavors. She happily slurped her ice cream, tuning out everything else, while Naruto and Yusaka shared a simple single scoop of vanilla. Naruto's eyes narrowed when he felt a familiar energy. Did you feel that? Naruto asked quietly while subconsciously pulling Kunu closer to him. Yes. What are fallen angels doing in an area run by devils? Yusaka wondered. I don't know, but I guess we will find out soon enough. Naruto said. The three of them headed home and Kunu decided to take a nap. Naruto went to check on the Issei who was currently undergoing physical conditioning. Issei. Naruto called out as his clone that was watching over the boy dispelled. Yes, sensei? Issei asked. I need you to be a little bit more careful around here now. It seems there are fallen angels in the area. Naruto said. Naruto had thought Issei all about the supernatural factions but had yet to broach the subject on who and what he was. Deciding that now was a good time since Naruto had received word that Ria's engagement was being moved up, Naruto took a deep breath as he prepared to explain everything to his student. Issei, I haven't been fully honest with you. Naruto said seriously. What do you mean, sensei? Issei asked. My full name is Naruto Gremory and I am a devil from the house of Gremory. Naruto said. Wait, Gremory as in Ria's Gremory? That same one? Issei asked. Yes. She is actually my younger sister. Although she and I have never met in person due to the fact that I had to leave the underworld almost a century ago in order to handle some personal matters. Naruto said. I see. Issei responded, not knowing what to say. Do you hate me? I was not fully honest with you. Naruto said. No. How could I hate someone who helped to make me a better person? Without you, sensei, then I would still be the useless pervert in school that everyone hates in school. Now people are actually decent with me. Issei said. Say, Issei, is your dream still to become a harem king? Naruto asked. Well, it is to a certain degree, but more importantly is that I want the power to protect those I care about and build a family. If I just so happen to build a harem, then so be it. Learning under you has really helped open up my eyes. Issei responded seriously. If I told that helping me fulfill a favor would help you achieve your dream, would you do it? Even if it meant giving up being fully human? Naruto asked. Well, it depends on what you want me to do, but if it does help me get stronger to protect those I care about, then I don't see why not. Besides, you told me that I'm not exactly human anymore because of Drake, right? Issei responded. Yes, that is true, you are partially draconic already. You remember what I told you about devils having evil pieces and angels having brave saints, right? Naruto said. Yeah. I can sort of see where this is going. You want me to become a devil, right? Issei said. Yes. But not for me. I would like you to become a devil in Ria's peerage. I want you to watch over my little sister. Call it insurance. It would allow me to sleep much more soundly at night, knowing that the Red Dragon Emperor that I trained was able to assist my little sister in whatever matters may arise and help to protect her. I understand if you don't want to. Naruto said. No, it's fine, sensei. All my life I've been a useless pervert. But thanks to you, everyone sees potential in me. If this helps me repay you for all that you have done, then I will gladly do it. Issei said. Thanks, Issei. Naruto said with a smile. So how do I go about becoming part of Ria Senpai's peerage? Issei asked. I have reason to believe that the fallen angels are aware that you have a sacred gear and a strong one at that, since they were always the best at going after sacred gears out of the three factions, thanks to Azazel's expertise. But the fallen angels onto you, you could either wait for them to come to you and in the process, drawing the attention of Rias who happens to be in charge of this territory, or during school, you let out a pulse of your power to attract her attention. The choice is entirely up to you. Naruto said. I guess I'll just flare my power and talk to her. It's a lot better than waiting for the fallen angel to come and risk anything bad happening. Issei said. Glad to see that you aren't taking any unnecessary risks. Now get back to training. You still have another hour before you are done for the day. Work on your other skills besides physical training. Naruto said as he turned to leave the training ground. Hi sensei. Issei said as he got to work practicing his kenjutsu. And Issei, please don't tell Rias that I trained you or that I sent you. For now, I want to remain anonymous to the world at large. Naruto said, turning back to look at his student who simply nodded in response. When he got out of the training grounds, he saw Yusaka waiting for him with a seductive smirk on her face. Naruto just raised an eyebrow at this before he was pulled in for a heated kiss. You said we would continue this when we got back home. Well, we are home now, so let's have a little fun, shall we? Yusaka said. Of course, my dear queen. Naruto said as he flashed them to their bedroom. A few hours later, the king and queen had finished their little rut and Yusaka was blissfully resting in the bed. Naruto sat at the edge of the bed and stroked her cheek delicately, Yusaka unconsciously leaning into the touch. Naruto kissed her forehead before heading out of the room and going to his command room. He grabbed his mask and his black cloak with red clouds and put it on before disappearing in a black vortex. He appeared on a tree overlooking the abandoned church where he had detected the fallen angels. He narrowed his single visible eye when he counted 4 fallen angels, although they were all weak with only a single pair of wings. So there are indeed fallen here. But what are they doing? Azazel is one of the last few people I would expect who would do this, since it could well lead to a war. Naruto said to himself. He listened into the conversation of the fallen, getting their names and stowing that information away for further research. Eventually he got bored of their useless bickering and decided to go back and do research on them. He returned back to his command room, activating the terminal and entering the names of the fallen. The other 3 have nothing really worth noting. But it seems that this 4th one, Rainer, is unusually devoted to Azazel and would go to great lengths to please him or at least do things that she thinks will please him. Naruto mused. He decided to get in touch with his contact to learn what could have drawn the fallen angels here. Interesting, so they managed to track the boosted gear here. Azazel asked them to ignore it for now, but Rainer probably decided that acting upon the information would please him. She either intends to convert Issei to their side, kill him or try to take his sacred gear. She also requested for an excommunicated nun to be sent here. And the nun has some weird healing power, probably a sacred gear. Maybe twilight healing. It does seem like it given that she could heal a devil. It seems that things are starting soon. I can only hope that Issei will be enough help for my sister for now. Naruto said as he stared at the updates on the screen. Naruto watched from his spot atop one of the many small hills that were present on his private training grounds as Issei went through various sword stances with a wooden practice sword against the training dummy. Deciding that it was time to step up his students' training a little bit, Naruto summoned a clone and sent it to surprise Issei. Sensing the danger, Issei sidestepped the clone's attack before swinging his wooden blade in a wide arc to try and hit the clone's head. The clone ducked under the strike and attempted a straight thrust to try and jab Issei with its own wooden blade, but Issei deftly avoided the strike by bending backwards. He went for a leg sweep to try and get the clone, but the clone jumped up and tried for another overhead strike, which Issei was able to parry. Issei pushed back on the strike before going in for a diagonal slash, only to have it countered by the clone. He spun the sword in his hand fluidly, his sword arcing around the clone in a flurry of movement in its attempt to try and overwhelm the clone's defenses, but of course it was Naruto's original move, so the clone simply countered with his own variation, before slipping within his guard and giving Issei a swift hit to the side. Stop. Naruto said as both the clone and Issei stopped. The clone dispelling as he approached Issei. Good job, Issei. Your sword skills are certainly improving. That will be all today. You should rest. I trust that you have garnered my sister's attention. Naruto asked as Issei deposited his sword into a pocket dimension. Yes, I have. She currently has her rook or her queen trailing me. While her queen may be good at sneaking around, she has nothing on your training, sensei. Also, I have made sure to suppress my energy such that it feels like I have an inactivate sacred gear, making sure to let Drake's influence through so they know that it could be the boosted gear. Issei said. But Issei. You are doing very well. This is after all up to you how you want to do this. Anyway, I will see you at the end of the week, Issei. You know the way out. Naruto said before flashing away. I see my beautiful knight is getting ready for her night out. Naruto said as he appeared behind a nude Kazuha in her room. He pulled her body to his, wrapping his arms around her waist, the developing baby bump being felt by his calloused fingers. I want my time with my king to be very special after all. Kazuha replied as she placed her hands over his. Just imagine, in another 5 months you will become a mother and we will be welcoming a new member to our growing family. Naruto said as he kissed her cheek. I look forward to the day when I get to hold our child, my beloved king. Have you thought of any names? Kazuha asked. Well, I have thought of one if it is a girl. Himawari. If it is a boy, well, I haven't thought of a good name for a boy yet. Naruto replied as he suckled on the sensitive flash of her neck, earning a moan from his black-haired knight. Anyway, would you like to join me in the bath before we go for our dinner? Kazuha asked. Of course. I would never reject the chance to spend time with one of my beloveds. Naruto said as he carried Kazuha in his arms towards the bath. He filled the tub up with water using his magic and got inside the spacious tub Kazuha set between his legs. He gently lathered soap all over her body, his touch lingering over her more sensitive areas for just a little longer to tease her. After he washed her body of all the soap and gave her hair a gentle wash, they changed positions so that Kazuha could wash Naruto, making sure to return the favor for his earlier teasing. Once the two of them were done fooling around and got clean, Naruto took a seat in front of the dresser, using a hairbrush to brush Kazuha's luxurious hair before setting it in her usual ponytail with her usual orange ribbon. She got dressed in a beautiful orange dress that showed off her figure and gave a hint of her developing baby bump, while Naruto put on a simple red t-shirt and slacks with a blazer over top. Shall we, my dear? Naruto asked as he offered a hand to her. Of course. We don't want to lose our reservation now, do we? Kazuha said as she accepted the offered hand and the pair left for their dinner. They arrived at their chosen destination, a quaint little French restaurant that had quickly become a favorite for Kazuha, given how often she would ask him to bring her here. They were led to their usual spot in a secluded corner of the restaurant, and Naruto helped Kazuha get seated before he took his own seat opposite to her. They browsed through the menu and ordered their dinner for the night together with some wine to accompany it before being left in silence. It's hard to imagine that I've been with you for more than 30 years now. I still remember that day when you saved me, Kazuha said as she leaned into Naruto's hand that was tenderly stroking her cheek. At that time all I could think about was keeping my promise to Kazuya because he was the only real family I had. I remember that sadness at not being able to see him again, not able to comfort him when he got sad and not being able to see him grow up. But you changed that for me. You gave me a new life. I always wonder what would happen had you not come to save me. What would the afterlife have been like? I always tell you to stop thinking about what ifs and focus on the here and now. You have family now. We all love you. I love you dearly, Kazuha. I think it was fate that called me to your world. At first I went there out of interest, but then I met you. You could say I fell head over heels with you. How you didn't care about others and was brutally honest to everyone you met. I admired your determination to break away from your grandfather despite the hard life that came with it. I couldn't let a beautiful soul like yours be extinguished so easily now, could I? Naruto said with a smile before giving a light peck on her lips, breaking away to allow the waiter to place their food and drink on the table. Whenever I look back, I am eternally grateful for the life you gave me. At first I was afraid, about being a devil. Kazuha admitted. Ah yes, I remember when you first discovered you were now a devil. You panicked and refused to talk to anyone for a day. It was thanks to Yusaka that you finally allowed me to talk to you. Then after that you adjusted pretty well. You were a quick learner, managing to pick up all the basic magic spells in a few days. Naruto said with a chuckle. It was thanks to you and Yusaka that I was able to adapt, and I learned quickly because I had a great teacher. Thanks to you I got to live a new life and see my most precious person once more. It was thanks to you that I had more precious people in my life, and now thanks to you, I get to experience bringing new life to this world. Kazuha said with tears of joy. I would do anything to make my beloveds happy because they are my most precious people. I would even storm heaven if that meant keeping all of you safe and happy. I would even fight a war against all the factions if that meant that my precious people would be safe. Naruto said with eyes full of determination. And it is that determination and kindness that made me fall in love with you, Naruto-kun. The way you care for those you love and would do anything for their sake. Kazuha said. Are you sure it wasn't because of how much you lusted for my touch? After all, you started becoming more affectionate when you happened to catch me and Yusaka going at it. Naruto said suggestively while wiggling his eyebrows, getting Kazuha to blush. Well, I will admit that it was one benefit, but our relationship is more than just a physical one. After all, the greatest symbol of our love grows as we speak. Kazuha said as she had a warm smile on her face, one that was mirrored on Naruto's face. Do you remember that time during the 9th Nova clash? When you first showed your devil powers against the Nova? Naruto asked, the both of them reminiscing about the past. How could I not? I put too much energy into the technique and ended up causing a lot of property damage, even if it managed to go through an entire Type S Nova. And then Yusaka wasn't much better with her fire. Of course, thanks to your illusion we didn't have too much explaining to do except for your unique powers as a limiter. Kazuha said, putting emphasis on the word unique since it was basically all of Naruto's devil powers that they could mask as being special limiter powers from having two very strong Pandora. Your grandfather is pretty good with coming up with cover stories though. I mean, experiment to see the benefits of two Pandora sharing one limiter. Experiment on injecting more stigmata into a limiter. Unique genes that resonate with the Pandora. I don't know which one I found more surprising, the fact that he could come up with all of that on the fly or the fact that people actually bought that nonsense. Naruto said. People were desperate and we gave them hope during dark times. I still can't believe how the Nova invasion ended once you decided to reveal your full devil powers and destroy the Nova homeworld. Kazuha said with a chuckle. After revealing that he was a devil and after the 12th Nova clash, Naruto had gotten bored and decided to just go to the Nova homeworld, using his ultimate Susanoo and his strongest attack to destroy the world, ending the Nova threat for good. Well, I got tired of the constant alert and I wanted to enjoy my time with my girls you know. Clean up after that was troublesome though. Naruto said with a shrug. Since they were done with the meal Naruto paid and helped Kazuha out of her seat before the two of them walked through the park together, Kazuha's head leaning against Naruto's shoulder as he had an arm wrapped around her, his blazer draped over her shoulders. It's a beautiful full moon tonight. How about we sit down and watch the stars for a little while? Kazuha suggested. Naruto nodded and sat down on a bench, pulling Kazuha to sit in his lap as he wrapped his arms protectively around her waist. It is a nice night. I like times like this nothing but me and my beloved spending time together just the way I like it. Naruto said. I wonder what is going on back in my own world. I wonder how Kazaya and Satellaizer are doing Kazuha said. I remember when you used to resent her, constantly complaining to both Yusaka and me how, and I quote, that blonde harlot is trying to steal my Kazaya from me and is corrupting my little brother with her body. But then you started accepting her. I wonder what brought on that change. Naruto said. Well I guess it was after the 10th Nova clash when we all nearly died from the Nova bomb, only to be saved by you at the last moment. But I realized how happy she made him just like how happy you made me. Speaking of which, they had kids right? Kazuha asked. That's right. They had 2 children, a son and a daughter. Why don't we see what they are up to right now? Naruto said as he raised his hand, activating his Rinnegan, he created a viewing portal to Kazuha's world. Kazuha had a warm smile as she watched her younger brother eating dinner with his family. She could see the love between the family and was grateful that her brother had found happiness away from her. She was even pleased to see that her remaining aunts were spending time with him since they seemed pretty lost after her grandfather had passed. I can't wait to experience that with you, the life of a loving family. Granted it will be a little different since you have 7 wives, but looking at you, Yusaka, Kuroka, Kunu and Boruto, I can't wait to have this child of ours born so that I can experience the joy of being a mother like they have. Kazuha said. I can't wait for our child to be born either. Now come on. It's time to go home. Naruto said. The two of them enjoyed a peaceful stroll back to the shop before heading off to bed, Kazuha using Naruto as her pillow, her head nestled into his neck as he wrapped his right arm possessively around her waist. He gave her a light kiss before they both drifted off into blissful unconsciousness. Scene change. Naruto's command room, 2 weeks have passed. I see so Rizavim is going after something called Sephiroth Graal, also known as the Holy Grail. Any idea why he would want it? Naruto asked as he went through the data gathered by his pawns. We have no idea however he has made no other movements besides showing a keen interest in that particular sacred gear. Gaara said while A was busy punching B in the background for terrible rapping. Keep an eye on him and tell me if any other development occurs. Naruto said before he cut off the communication with them. Odd. Of all the sacred gears. Itachi and Kisame have reported to me that the hero faction is currently in possession of the true Longinus, Annihilation Maker and the Dimension Lost, while the Incinerate Anthem is with the magicians. Then there is also the problem of the hero faction brainwashing and using people with sacred gears. Just what are they planning Kakashi, guy can you hear me? Naruto said getting in touch with his other team of pawns. Loud and clear Naruto-sama. Kakashi responded. I want you to keep an eye and ear out for any development regarding the hero faction. It seems they are amassing power and anytime a singular group tries to consolidate their power, it is never a good thing. Naruto said. Duly noted. We will inform you should we learn of any development regarding the hero faction. Kakashi said before the communication was cut. Things are happening in the background for now. I wonder if any of the faction leaders have taken notice of this. But then again the dissidents have been good at hiding their movement so far. Oh well it would seem that Issei is handling his situation well. The Fallen have taken an interest in his now. In fact if I recall, he has a date with one this weekend. Oh well. How he decides to approach this matter is his choice. I should trust my student after all. Naruto commented. I need to go get a drink. Naruto said to himself as he walked out of the command room, grabbing a black haori to wear over his short kimono and a green striped hat to go along with it. He wished his wives goodbye before he went to his frequented drinking location. He entered the Rolling Stones bar and took his usual seat by the counter and ordered his usual cocktail. As he was drinking, his mind wandered through various thoughts namely the current storm about to come and also his family. He shook his head to clear his mind. The purpose of this is to relax, not to add to his worries, so he stopped thinking about troubles and focused on the lighter things in life, such as his growing family. Of course he absent-mindedly thought about what his mother would say about him when he returned with children. He shuddered as he thought about the dressing down that he would undoubtedly receive from her. His thoughts then wandered to his little sister. The one who he had yet to meet. He was certain his parents and his brother had told her stories of him, although he dreaded the meeting with her that was sure to come eventually. Would she hate him for leaving her alone? Would she hate him for not helping her out directly with her engagement? Would she hate him for just leaving their family out of the blue? Those were Naruto's thoughts. He had watched Rias as she came to his store from time to time. She had matured into a beautiful young lady, and the resemblance to their mother was definitely there. He had occasionally observed her hunting stray devils, of course only those he believed she and her peerage could handle. No reason to put her at risk after all. He would make sure to eliminate all the more dangerous strays before anyone got wind of them, making it look like accidents are the fault of other factions to cover his tracks. Strategically she was good for someone her age, and her aura was definitely outstanding as well, but she was careless and relied too heavily on overpowering the enemy. Granted she was still young and had a ways to go, the potential was there. She and her peerage just need the right push. Thinking of her peerage, it would seem that Rias has a knack for saving people. She saved a half-fallen angel, revived a near-dead subject of the Holy Sword Project, and gave new life to a half-vampire. Naruto had been observing her peerage occasionally, and while good for their age, they really needed to deal with their personal problems if they wanted to go further. Deciding that it was enough thinking for the night, Naruto decided to make plans for his weekend time with Lucy. Time skip. Weekend. Are you ready to go, Lucy? Naruto asked as he waited by the doorway. Lucy was currently looking at a full-length mirror, adjusting her dress and hat till they were in a position that she was satisfied with. I am now. Where are we going today? Lucy asked as she wrapped her arms around Naruto's right arm, trapping it between her bosoms. Well, there is a fair in town, so I thought it would be a good idea to bring you there today. Unless of course you don't wish to go, then we can always do something else. Naruto said. No, it's fine. As long as I get to spend the day with you, Naruto-sama. Lucy said with a cute blush. Oh my, is the stoic Lucy actually blushing? You should show this cuter side of yourself more often around the others and not just around me. No one's going to judge you for actually showing feelings, you know. Well, Kuroka might tease the hell out of you, which she already does, so I don't see much of a difference. Naruto said as he kissed Lucy's cheek. He led her out of the house and they took a nice stroll towards the fair. But what if the others think I'm weird or something? Lucy asked shyly. Lucy, you need to loosen up. There are a range of expressions that we as living creatures are able to show. You don't always need to confine yourself to the extremes of the spectrum. The world isn't black and white. Being gray is what differentiates us from the inanimate. Naruto said with a chuckle. The couple went around trying out various things at the fair, spending most of the time taking in the sights and sounds of the crowded fair that was unique to the usually sleepy atmosphere of quaint little Kuo town. They tried out some of the activities and games, Naruto winning Lucy a cute little stuffed cat that reminded her of Kuroka. Naruto gave a nervous chuckle as he saw Lucy giving some loving attention to the toy, which hinted towards what he would occasionally do to his other bishop. It would seem that his pieces, although willing to live together, had some intrinsic dislike for their counterparts and were always trying to one-up each other, with the only exception being Kazuha and Miya. Fallen angel. Lucy commented softly, to which Naruto nodded. Yes, I believe they are trying to bait Issei for some reason. Oh well, let's leave it to my student. If he can't handle someone like this, then his training needs to be stepped up. Now come on, let us not bother ourselves with such matters. The important thing is us spending time together. Naruto said as he led Lucy to grab a bite to eat from one of the carts. After they were done eating, they decided to simply sit down in the park and chat for a while before going to find a place to eat dinner at. Naruto-sama, Lucy said, but was interrupted by Naruto. Naruto-kun. I may be your king, but you are also one of my mates. There is no need for such formalities unless of course you have that sort of kink like Tiamat, then by all means go ahead. Although that would be quite hot if you were really into the same things as Tiamat is. Damn it. Jiraiya-sensei has corrupted me. Naruto said. Naruto-kun, what made you choose me over my sisters? I mean, I'm not as strong as Windy, Teslet or Cassandra. Why didn't you choose Cassandra for your bishop? What made you choose me? Lucy asked. Are you having doubts, dear? I chose you because the moment I laid eyes upon you and your sisters while you were still asleep, I felt a connection form between us. If you think about it, I could have taken Chiffon as a rook, quite a suitable position for her, but I chose you because you were special to me. You said it yourself, right? You might be weaker than your 3 older sisters, but you have the ability to understand. Naruto said. That I did. I still remember the shock when father told me that he had agreed to allow me to become your bishop in exchange for your services in the war against the Nova. I avoided you fearing that I would lose what little humanity and family instead. But I couldn't be more wrong, and the greatest day of my life was when I finally accepted your offer. You gave me family and taught me what it means to be truly alive and what it means to feel. Lucy admitted as she leaned her head against Naruto's shoulder, his arm was wrapped around her shoulder. And I was right in that you were the one to become my first bishop, you were even better than Kazuha when it came to learning how to use magic. You were even able to start learning my version of elemental manipulation within 10 years after becoming a devil when it took me 15 after I gained the Rinnegan. Naruto praised. But you were figuring things out on your own while I was merely following your teachings. Lucy said. It would seem that the fallen angel and my student are here right now. Shall we make ourselves scarce for the moment? Naruto asked. Lucy nodded and Naruto activated a cloaking technique that would make them seem as though they weren't even there. Against more skilled opponents or censors this technique wouldn't work, but against a level of people he was trying to avoid, namely the fallen angel and Ria's peerage, this was more than adequate. Issei, I had a really good time today. Could you kindly do one more thing for me? A beautiful black-haired girl asked. What is it, Uma-chan? Issei asked sweetly, although inside he was cringing at having to blatantly lie like this. The fallen angel's intent to harm he was so clear that it was really disgusting to him to have to keep pretending until she made her move. Could you please die for me? Yuma asked. I was waiting when you would make your move. Issei said as he put some distance between himself and Yuma, who had reverted into her true form. She had become more mature and she now wore a leather outfit that left little to the imagination. Her pair of black wings were unfurled as a barrier surrounded the area. What do you mean? You are just a kid with a dormant sacred gear. How on earth did you know I was after you? Yuma asked. I can sense your intent, Yuma, or should I say fallen angel. Tell me what is your real name and did Azazel order you to do this? Issei asked. I am Rainer. And no, Azazel only ordered us to watch you, but I'm sure that once he hears of what I have done here, he will reward me greatly. Rainer boasted as she created a spear of light. I expected as such. Issei said as he summoned his katana that Naruto gave him from his pocket dimension, seeing no reason to reveal his sacred gear for such a weak opponent. I human. Rainer said as she hurled the light spear at Issei. Issei channeled lightning magic into the katana, destroying the light spear when it came into contact with the blade. He pushed more magic through the blade, extending it out as a short spear of electricity that pierced Rainer's wing, making her body go numb. I suggest you leave. I'm merciful today so I'll let you leave, but that was just a warning and to tell you that I can kill you at any time. So don't think you can disobey your superior's orders so easily and also enter someone else's territory without repercussion. Issei said coldly. Rainer glared at him before flying away with her tail between her legs. You can come out now. I know you've been following me for some time. Issei said as Koneko and Akeno appeared from the trees. Ara, how did you manage to sense us? You must be pretty good and you seem adept at using magic and a sword. I assume you know that we are devils. Akeno said. Issei simply nodded his head. Good. Our king would like to speak to you. She has an offer to make you. If you would please come with us. Akeno said. I would like to speak to Ms. Gremory as well, so led the way. Issei said as he followed behind the two devils. Well, it seems my student handled that quite well. I'm impressed. If that was him from a few months ago he would be too busy ogling the fallen angel to even notice a light spear piercing his gut. Naruto said and Lucy nodded in agreement since she too had seen the changes that the young man went through. Shall we go have our dinner then? It's about time for it anyway. Where would you like to go, Lucy? The usual. Naruto asked as he carried her in his arms and proceeded to hop on rooftops towards her usual dinner place, making sure to place an illusion so no one would notice them. They had a quiet dinner at a fancy steakhouse that Lucy would always ask Naruto to bring her to, and throughout the dinner, Naruto noticed that something was on Lucy's mind. Deciding to ask her about it later on, he continued to eat dinner in peace while taking note of Lucy's actions. Once they were done, Naruto paid for the dinner and they left, Lucy leaning her head against Naruto as he had an arm wrapped around her shoulder while they went back home. Lucy, is something bothering you? Naruto asked with concern. No, there is nothing wrong, Naruto-kun. Lucy said with a smile that Naruto instantly knew was false. Don't lie to me, Lucy. I can feel your emotions and turmoil not only through my own abilities but also our bond from the evil pieces. Tell me, what is it that is bothering you? You can be honest with me, Lucy. I would do anything to make you happy. Naruto said, taking her hands in his. It's just that I'm a little jealous of Yusaka, Kuroka and Kazuha. They look so happy bearing you and raising your children. I want to feel that happiness. I want to have a child with you as well. Lucy said. Are you sure about this? Having a child is not something one should think about so casually. That was why I invented the anti-pregnancy seal in the first place, so that I wouldn't have too many children that wouldn't be raised properly from all our fun activities in bed. Are you certain that this is what you want? Would this make you happy? Naruto asked as he cupped her chin and brought her face to look up at him. Yes. I am sure I am ready. I want to have a child with you. I want to experience that happiness that Yusaka, Kuroka and soon Kazuha experience. So please give me your child Naruto-kun. Lucy said. Very well then my precious Lucy-chan. Let's get started with the baby making shall we? Naruto said as he pulled Lucy in for a kiss and teleported them to their bedroom to get started on fulfilling her wish. Alright, that was this chapter. Mainly focused on interaction between Kazuha and Lucy based on what little reference material there is and my own take on their characters. Then we also had some advancement of the canon story with Issei joining the peerage as well as some of Naruto's observations of the peerage. Also, although I will mention lemons, I won't have lemons every chapter and have this become a smut story. Probably going to have one lemon every 3 to 4 chapters at most. Freezing world. I am a devil. Alarm sounds. The party has been cancelled. All you genetics Pandora get to the plaza now. One of the Chevalier Pandora ordered. Elizabeth, what is going on? Arnett asked. I don't know but we should get going. Elizabeth said. But what about her? Arnett asked. It seems that the legendary Pandora can't hold her liquor. Lucy-chan, you should really not let your sisters drink if they are going to pass out so easily. Yusaka said as she, Naruto, Kazuha and Lucy approached the group. What my sisters do is none of my business. Besides, as our loving niece, Kazuha should be the one keeping us in line in trivial matters like this. After all, the rest of us are still naive to the ways of the world. Lucy said offhandedly. Oh great, now you are just pushing the blame to others. By the way, has anyone seen Kazuya and Satellaizer? Wait a minute, that harlot. She is trying to seduce my cute little Itaudo into doing indecent acts with her. Kazuha said with an expression of horror on her face. About Kazuya, Elizabeth said nervously, not knowing how to tell the enraged older sister that she was the one that pushed Satellaizer to spend some quality time with Kazuya. Relax, Kazuha. You need to be less overprotective of your brother. After all, he is Satellaizer partner, is he not? The fact that they still have yet to carry out a baptism not being considered. Naruto said. Anyway, what do we do about her? I think we should take her with us, no? Arnett asked. Arnett. Elizabeth. Kazuya shouted as he and Satellaizer ran towards them. Oh, there you two are. Naruto commented offhandedly. What happened? Kazuya asked. We have no idea. Elizabeth responded. It would seem that there are intruders storming this base. And a level 1 alert to boot. These intruders certainly are something. In fact, they are going to appear in 3-2 now. Naruto said dryly as the wall exploded and from the smoke emerged 4 enemy Pandora wearing some sort of armor. Ah, man, this is just perfect. It looks like we just found some genetics babies. The one dressed in a trench coat, Petty Laner, said as she chucked a defeated Chevalier Pandora away. Command room. Bring up the video feed on the intruders. Dr. Aoi ordered. As soon as he saw the stigmata pattern on their backs, he slammed his fist into the table. Naruto, do you read me? Dr. Aoi said through his communication seal. Loud and clear, Doc. I got 4 Pandora here with me. All of them are certified loonies equipped with what seems to be plasma stigmatas. Naruto said casually as though they weren't a threat. Hey, you stop ignoring us, you lousy limiter. Petty said. What's that? Handle the situation with my own discretion. Terminate them with extreme prejudice, you say. Well then, it looks like I will be entertaining you girls for the night. Before I kill you, could I please ask what you are doing here, interrupting such a joyous occasion on a fine night like this? Naruto said as he stepped forward. You are going to be our opponent. You are just a pathetic limiter. I want to play with the genetics babies, so I will have you get out of our way now. We are here to kill Dr. Gengo Aoi and we have a license to kill anyone in this base. Petty said. Naruto-san. Elizabeth and Arnett said as they were about to charge to help him, but Kazuha and Lucy stopped them. Are you crazy? Leaving your limiter to die? Arnett protested. You will not get in the way of our king. Unless Naruto-sama or Yusaka-sama orders it, we will not interfere. Lucy said coldly. Ah, you stupid limiter brat. Petty said as she appeared in front of Naruto and prepared to deliver a vicious right hook, only to find herself unable to move when she stared into Naruto's red eyes. Naruto casually raised his right hand and with a single finger flick, sent her flying into the wall, cracking it upon impact. What in the world? Isabella said. How did he do that? Kazuya asked. Like Lucy said, if you were to join this fight, you would only get in our king's way. Kazuha said. I'm afraid I can't let you kill Dr. Aoi. You see, he and I have a contract. And my pride as a devil won't allow that contract to be terminated prematurely by some Pandoras who should be in a mental institute. Naruto said as he loosened the collar of his shirt. Devil contract? What the hell are you talking about? I'm going to turn you into a beautiful corpse. Isabella said as she blasted Naruto with a beam from her plasma weapon, only to have Naruto activate his Rinnegan and absorb the energy. What the hell are you? Petty asked. I am Naruto Gremory. An ultimate class devil from the house of Gremory. Naruto said as he flared his devil wings out. Naruto-san is a devil. And what were you two talking about Naruto-san being a king? As in royalty? Elizabeth asked. He is technically royalty in devil blood, but devils have something called the evil pieces that allows him to revive other species as devils. They are represented by chess pieces. Naruto is the king, Yusaka is the queen, I am the knight, and Lucy is the bishop. It was how I was brought back to life after the 8th Nova clash. Kazuha explained. Stop fucking with us. Petty shouted as she charged once more only for Naruto to sidestep and break her arm before flipping in the air and delivering a devastating dropkick to her back. He stepped on her back to keep her in place as his hand held onto her head. Now then, I want information and seeing as you are the leader, you would know everything or at least most of it. Naruto said as he used his Rinnegan to extract Petty's soul, her body becoming lifeless. Interesting. Dr. Aoi will want to know this. Anyway, I have what I want. It is time for you girls to disappear. Naruto said as he simply stared at them, summoning black flames to burn their bodies. Well then, now that the problem has been dealt with, let's get back to partying. Naruto cheered. Naruto woke up as the morning sun streamed through the blind of the room. Mentally cursing the sun and reminding himself to get blinds that wouldn't allow any light to pass through, he tried to return back to his peaceful slumber, pulling the body in his arms as close as possible. He smiled as he took in the mop of purple hair that was snuggled into the crook of his neck, its owner using his shoulder as his pillow. Mia had a serene smile on her face as her light, slow breathing indicated that she was still asleep. Her hot breaths on his neck had a calming effect on Naruto, and before too long he fell back into a dreamless sleep. Morning Naruto-kun. Naruto heard a voice say as he slowly started to wake up. He brought up his only free hand to rub the sleep out of his eyes and registered that Mia had greeted him good morning and was now awake. She was looking up at him with eyes full of love and possibly a slight hint of lust. Morning Mia-chan. I trust you had a good sleep. Naruto said as he ran his hands through her hair, Mia leaning closer to his chest, their bodies melding as close as possible. Of course I did. With my Ashikabi-sama with me I will always be able to have a good rest. Do you have anything to do today? Mia asked as she stroked his cheek, Naruto placing a hand over hers as her other hand traced his well-defined torso. Well, aside from doing the usual updates with the pawns, I just need to see how Issei is settling in as a devil and deal with the rogue fallen. Would you like to join me in dealing with the fallen today? Naruto said. You know how long it has been since I last used my sword Naruto-kun. You spoil me so much. Mia said while covering her mouth and giggling. Well you can have your fun but do try to refrain from killing them. Naruto said while Mia pouted at this. Woo, Naruto-kun you spoil sport. That means that I can't play with them as much. Besides they are only weak fallen with a pair of wings each. Mia said. You know you sure changed since I first met you. What happened to my sweet little Mia-chan who was unwilling to raise her blade? Naruto joked. Well if it's for the sake of my king then I am willing to do anything. After all, my Ashikabi-sama owns me, body, mind and soul. Since we have some time, why don't we have a little fun? Mia said as she moved to straddle Naruto's waist. As much as I would love to continue our activities from last night, you will have to be satisfied with what we have already done for now, since I need to go check up with the pawns, or have you not noticed how late it is? Naruto said as he moved Mia off him, earning a pout from the purple-haired woman. Naruto-kun you know it is not nice to reject a lady's advances like that. Mia said. Whatever you say Mia. I'll see you later after I'm done with the meeting. We can go and do whatever you feel like doing. Just think of something. After that we need to check up on Issei then you can have your fun with the fallen angels. Naruto said as he put on a pair of slacks and a t-shirt before walking away to the command center where he contacted all his pawns to get status updates on their tasks. So all the most of the Longinus have been accounted for. The angels have the Zenith Tempest in the hands of the strongest exorcist, Dulio. The devils now have the boosted gear through Issei and also the Regulus Nemia, which is a pawn in Saraerd Bale's peerage. I still don't understand how that is possible. The spirit within the sacred gear should not be able to exist outside the gear, yet Saraerd was able to do it. The fallen have the divine dividing through the half-devil descendant of Lucifer and also the Canis Lycaean in the hands of Slash Dog. Annihilation Maker, True Longinus and Dimension Lost are currently with the hero faction. Wolberga has the Incinerate Anthem. Valerie Teeps has the Sephiroth Growl. The Telos Karma and Innovate Clear is unaccounted for and the Absolute Demise user is with the Magicians. Naruto mused as he watched the map for the locations of the current active Longinus. The Sephiroth Growl is not a high-tier Longinus but is a holy relic. Why does Rizivim have a particular interest in that sacred gear? Besides, his own grandson has divine dividing. What is your goal Rizivim? You do things out of your own twisted sense of fun. You would never act unless it interested you. You were even willing to kill your own son and his wife after getting them to abandon Vali. What has got you so interested? You definitely don't want your Lucifer seat back. No, this is definitely something bigger because you aren't cooperating with the other descendants. In fact, your group seems oddly more separate to the rest in the Cows Brigade. Not like they were very coherent in the face place. Naruto said as he reviewed the information Kakashi had gotten from his informants. This is getting troublesome and according to my underworld informants, Riser is trying to push the wedding date earlier. I wonder, what will Surziches do? The nun that Rainer called for is coming to town today. I think it might be a good idea to show what she is capable of. Naruto said to himself before getting up from his seat. He put on his mask and cloak and disappeared in a black vortex towards the energy signature of the nun that had just arrived into the city. Oddly enough, she was quite near to where Issei was. He arrived on a telephone pole overlooking the city near the location of the nun and was pleasantly surprised to see Issei helping the nun out. He narrowed his eyes when he saw the nun heal an injured little boy with her sacred gear. He took note of the abilities and look of the sacred gear and concluded that it was indeed twilight healing. Although even Naruto had to admit that she was a really pure soul. She even had an affinity towards dragons. So it seems that the fallen angels want to take her sacred gear for themselves. Oh well. All the more reason for me to eliminate them now that Issei has helped me confirm their independence. Although Azazel is terrible at making sure his people stay in line. Naruto said to himself. He smiled when he saw how Issei befriended the nun despite them being from opposite sides. He had always preached to Issei that one's birth is not important but what is important is how they choose to live their lives. He decided to approach his student and talk to him before he went to school, making sure that no one was tailing them. So Issei, I see you made a new friend. Naruto said as he suddenly appeared before Issei in a black vortex. Sensei. Issei shouted in surprise and immediately went into a defensive posture. It seems you have kept in mind all the lessons I taught you. Naruto said with a chuckle as Issei relaxed his stance. Of course. I don't want to disappoint you, Sensei. Sensei, about that nun. Issei trailed looking at Naruto, his facial expression conveying the unasked question. Yes. She is indeed an exiled nun and the fallen angel intend to use her for her sacred gear. How exactly I do not know. But I will find out later tonight when I get rid of those uninvited crows. Naruto said. I see. I just hope Asia is okay. Issei commented. Concerned about your new friend already? I thought I told you to be more careful about who you trust. Naruto said. Yeah, it's just that Asia seems too nice and innocent. It's like she can't even be evil if she tried. Issei commented. Good to see that you noticed. Anyway, we are getting too near to your school for me to get to, so I best get going. By the way, I'll leave Asia in your care once I'm done with the fallen angels. Talk to you soon, Issei. Bye. Naruto said before disappearing in a red flash. Hey, wait, Sensei, what did you mean by leaving the girl in my care? Issei said as his eyebrow twitched at being ditched by his sense all of a sudden. He sighed and walked toward school, deciding to talk to his sensei when he visited the shop later today, since classes were more important right now. Hey there, Mia-chan. Naruto greeted as he appeared behind his purple-haired knight. Hi. Mia shouted in shock before she turned around and bonked Naruto on the head with a ladle that she pulled out of somewhere. It seems that she always carried it with her at all times. Tai. Did you really have to hit me so hard with the ladle? Naruto said while rubbing his head trying to soothe the pain as a lump could be seen on his head. Sorry Naruto-kun, but you surprised me when you appeared so suddenly. Here, let me kiss it and make it better. Mia said as she pulled Naruto in for a hug, laying his head in her bosom and kissing the spot where she hit him. But I like seeing your reaction. It's cute. Naruto said only to get bonked on the head one more time by Mia. Woo, Naruto-kun, it's not nice to say such things about my unladylike behavior. Mia said with a pout. Tai. I was supposed to be healed, but instead I just received more damage. Naruto said with anime tears. There you little baby. It's all better now. Mia said as she hugged Naruto again. Well, have you thought of what you want to do today, Mia? Naruto asked. And how about we go for a stroll, then have a picnic at the forest and hillside overlooking Kuo Town, then we can go clean up the fallen angels before having a nice supper at the new 24-hour cafe. Mia suggested after some thinking, a finger on her chin as she debated internally on what she felt like doing. Let's get going then, shall we? Let me go get freshened up and you can prepare the picnic basket. Naruto said as he gave Mia a kiss, causing her wings to erupt from her back before leaving for his own room to get ready for the day. Mia waited for Naruto at the doorway with the picnic basket in hand. She looked at the time and saw that it was almost the afternoon. She was dressed in her usual clothes like a Maiko priestess with a white top and purple hakama pants. Naruto came down wearing a simple white shirt that had the sleeves folded up so that they stopped before his elbows and the top two buttons were undone. He wore simple black dress pants and shoes. He extended an arm that Mia accepted, wrapping it between her bosom as she leaned her head against his shoulder. The two walked out of the house in comfortable silence towards the outskirts of Kuo town for their private time, Naruto making sure to leave behind a few clones to handle matters. With Miya and Naruto. After setting out the mat under the shade of a tree that gave them a good vantage point, Naruto settled himself down, his back leaned up against the tree, and Miya took her spot between his legs. Naruto wrapped his arms around her waist, pulling her close and humming in contentment. They stayed like that in comfortable silence for a long time, both just enjoying being in the company of the other. Noticing that Miya's extremely relaxed state, Naruto gained a devious smirk as he decided to get back at Miya for all her constant teasing. He gave a slow sensual lick to her ear before nibbling on her earlobe. Then he went to suck on the sensitive flesh at the juncture of her neck and collarbone, earning a gasp from his purple-haired knight. "Ah, Naruto-kun, what are you doing?" Miya squeaked out as her breathing started to become ragged. "I'm just having a little fun with you, Miya-chan," Naruto said in a sing-song voice as he continued to suck on her sensitive flesh, his arms trapping hers, preventing any escape as Miya continued to squirm in his grip. "Ooh, Naruto-kun, please stop teasing me like this if you don't intend to go any further." Miya breathed out as her face was completely red. "Oh my, what is this? The normally prude Miya-chan wants me to go further. You used to be so against such behavior if what Matsu told me is correct," Naruto said as he stopped teasing Miya, spinning her around so that she now straddled him, her body pressed close to his. He rested his head against her shoulder as he could still hear her slightly frazzled breathing while she was still calming herself down from the teasing. "It isn't my fault that my king couldn't keep his beastly urges in check despite having so many partners that he managed to corrupt me like this. Although if I had known that having fun with my destined one was so meaningful and pleasurable, I might have been more lenient to the others. Of course that one time Minato walked in on us was hilarious," Miya said as she finally calmed down. "The kid was so naive. I still don't understand how he managed to get so many Sekirei, even a few single digits too," Naruto said. "Well, it could have been just luck or his soul might have been special. Although I always wondered how you managed to wing me yet did not attract any other Sekirei. If you were strong enough to wing me then every other Sekirei should have naturally gravitated toward you," Miya said. "Well, my theory for that is the Sekirei's destined ones have a certain soul quality that attracts them to each other. The way to subvert this is to have a stronger soul. In my case your reaction to me would be because of our natural compatibility, while everyone else would merely have become my Sekirei due to my power levels. But to stop that I just made myself undetectable to the other Sekirei after I winged you. Also I used your connection to the others as their pillar to eliminate the possibility of winging me. If you recall that was how we unwinged the Sekirei who did not manage to find their Ashibaki and rewrote their souls to their base state so that they were essentially unaffected by the forced winging," Naruto said. "Did that come on the spot or was that after research? Because while I am not doubtful of your smarts, you are rarely coming up with such complex theories outside of research topics or battle," Miya said as Naruto had an I'm tears and a rain cloud over his head. "Miya-chan, why do you have so little faith in me? Anyway, that theory was after researching using our bond through both the evil pieces and the regular Sekirei Ashikabi bond after you told me how Sekirei could be forcibly winged. And you know the last part is true because that was how we saved all the Sekirei," Naruto said. "I know. I was just kidding. You are the most amazing and important person to me, Naruto-kun. And I still can't thank you enough for all that you did for the Sekirei race, including that anti-forced winging array," Miya said as she leaned her head against Naruto's chest, his heartbeat having a calming effect on her. "Of course, Miya. I made a promise to help you and I always keep my promises, especially to my precious people," Naruto said as he and Miya kissed, her purple wings flaring out from her back as Naruto quickly put up an illusion to prevent the energy surge from being detected just in case any of his disguising arrays failed. At the same time, Issei and clone Naruto. "Hey there sensei, sorry I haven't been able to check in with you the last 2 weeks. It's just that I've been really busy with all this devil stuff," Issei said. "Yeah, no problem. I expected it anyway. How are you adjusting to this devil stuff anyway?" Naruto asked. "It's alright I guess. Handing flyers was really boring, but doing requests is really fun, although some of mine have been really weird," Issei said with a shudder. "So how did you convince Riaz to add you to her peerage?" Naruto asked. "Well, it wasn't hard once when I showed her that I was the Red Dragon Emperor. Although she did ask for a spar with her servants. They are pretty good, although thanks to the training you gave me I was able to beat her knight and rook," Issei said. "Yeah, well, my methods tend to be a little extreme, but they do bring results. Anyway, what did she say or feel about you being supernaturally aware and what was your alibi?" Naruto asked. "Well, I just told her that a wanderer trained me to use the boosted gear as well as helped me learn how to fight. She bought it for the most part, although I think she is still suspicious of why I come here. I think the only reason they give up is the illusions you have on this place," Issei said. "I see. Well then I have the perfect method to allow us to continue meeting. But your training will now have to be done at your own time," Just give me one of the leaflets and I'll become one of your regular contractors. Everything will work out, I promise. Naruto said. Back with Naruto and Mia. After the pair broke apart, they decided it was time to enjoy the picnic food that Mia had brought, and they took turns feeding each other and enjoying themselves. They discussed random matters such as how Mia was finding her life in Kuo and what she thought of this town and his little sister, while she talked about the things that were currently troubling him, such as the Cows Brigade, and also other matters like Ria's impending official engagement to Riser. Once they were done, Naruto flashed them back home so that they could prepare to go to deal with the fallen angels. Of course the rest of Naruto's women pouted at Mia, getting to go have some fun with the exception of Kazuha, since she didn't want to risk the child in battle. He told them that it was just Mia's luck that he needed to deal with the fallen angels today and promised to make it up to them with anything they wanted. Naruto immediately regretted this decision as he saw the devious glint in the eyes of many of his mates. So how are we doing this, Naruto-kun? Mia asked. She and Naruto had gotten a vantage point overlooking the church. Naruto was dressed in his usual black cloak with red clouds and also mask, while Mia was wearing the uniform that she wore during her time at MBI without the Haori. The Gremory clan symbol at the back was removed to prevent anyone from linking their actions back and figuring out Naruto's identity. We are just waiting for the fallen angels to return and then we will be good to go. You can have your fun with the fallen angels and whatever exorcists are in there with them. Heck, you can go on a rampage for all I care. Just try and keep the fallen alive. I'll take care of Asia unless of course you would rather me fight. Naruto said. As much as I would love to see you pick apart these weaklings, I think it might be better for you to handle Asia Argento than me. Speaking of which, have you noticed the other presence lurking near the church? Mia said. That is debatable, but yes. That same presence has been shadowing Asia since she first arrived. Diodora Astaroth, I believe. Same house Ajuka was from. That rat is going to end up causing a war if anyone finds out what he has been doing. People think that he has been getting excommunicated nuns, but in fact he is the one that gets them excommunicated. Heaven would be throwing a fit if they ever found out what the kid has been up to. How he is even part of the same house as Ajuka is a wonder to me. Anyway, it seems he left already. Naruto replied. The fallen angels have returned. Mia commented. Well then let's get to work. Naruto said. As he and Mia jumped down from their vantage point. They approached the doors of the church and proceeded to kick it open, gaining shocked looks from the fallen angels. Who the hell are you? Rainer asked. My, that isn't a nice greeting, fallen angel-san. After all, you are here in Devil's territory without proper permission and going against your leader's orders. You have been running on borrowed time and guess what? The clock has run out and I am here to collect. Naruto said in a sickly sweet voice as his singular red eye sent chills down their spine. You don't even have any aura about you. The woman over there though feels strong. Incredibly strong. And she is a devil too. Tell me, are you a stray? One of the fallen angels, a man in a trench coat wearing a fedora, asked. My allegiance is none of your business, fallen angel. Mia said, her stand still axe. My name is Donaseek, and since you don't seem to be allied to any house, that means that I can fight you and kill you without repercussion. Donaseek said as he created a light spear and charged at Mia. Mia, make an example of him. Naruto said simply, not liking such people who only live to fight and kill. Mia appeared some distance in front of Donaseek, her sword clicking back into its sheath as a large cut appeared from his hip to his shoulder, blood spraying everywhere before he fell to the ground, dead. That was a warning. You can either come quietly or this can be extremely painful for you. Naruto stated. What are you playing at here, devil? Rainer questioned. Simple, you are playing in turf that is not yours and toying with the lives of others. Is that not right? Do you not intend to extract Asia Argento's sacred gear? Naruto stated. And so what? That power will be a great benefit to us. And once we have it, Azazel will acknowledge us. And no devil will be a threat to us. Rainer said. And what of Asia's life? The sacred gear is bounded to her soul and removing it would cause her death. Naruto asked. What about it? She is a worthless ex-nun who has no one left. Death will be a blessing for her. Rainer scoffed. Did you hear that, Asia? These fallen angels do not have good intentions for you. So have you decided to take up my offer? Naruto asked as he looked behind Rainer to see a clone holding a scared Asia who could only nod dumbly. What have you done? Rainer said angrily as the clone Naruto appeared next to the real one and dispelled. Asia, I want you to stand behind me, okay? Naruto said to the girl. She moved behind Naruto and held onto his cloak. All I did is tell her the truth and offer to let her live with the only person who has shown her kindness out of the good of his own heart. Of course she didn't believe me at first, but seeing this side of you helped me win her over. Naruto said with a smirk behind his mask. Why you? You won't get away with this. Rainer said, her anger flaring. She formed a light spear and her other two companions did the same. What makes you think you can hurt me when my student could kill you without even using his sacred gear? Naruto said. You were the one who taught that boy to fight. I'll get you back for that embarrassment. Get him, boys. Rainer ordered as a group of exorcists appeared. Mia, eliminate them. Naruto said. Mia's calm facial expression took on an almost feral quality as she unsheathed her blade, swinging it with both hands and creating a shockwave that took care of the group of exorcists in one fell swoop. Last warning. Naruto said. The fallen refused the offer and charged at him. That was the last thing they did before Mia swiftly knocked all three of them out using her sheathed sword. All three fallen angels fell to the ground with a thump. Alright then, that takes care of this mess. Asia, you will be staying at my place for the night. Have you decided on which option you want to go for? You can either remain in my care or you can stay with Issei and become a devil. Naruto said to her as he approached the downed fallen angels, making them disappear in a vortex. I have decided that I want to stay with Issei-san. But are you sure that he will be willing to help me out? Asia asked fearfully. Of course he will. I beat it into the Gaki's head that one should not refuse to help those in need and that those who abandon their friends are worse than scum. Trust me, he thinks of you as a dear friend despite only meeting for only a few days. The church was wrong to excommunicate such a pure soul, but then again the fault is not entirely theirs or yours either. But let's get going, shall we? Naruto said as they teleported back to his house. Mia will get you settled into an extra room for the night. I need to go and finish up this matter with the fallen angels. Naruto said as Asia followed Mia. He watched them disappear down the hallways for a while before disappearing in a black vortex. Grigori headquarters. Azazel was relaxing at his desk after dealing with the torture that is paperwork before he took a defensive stance when a black swirl appeared in the room. He could feel the power coming from the devil in front of him and it was massive. It was even greater than Surzich's Lucifer, a devil who had power greater than the original Lucifer. Azazel narrowed his eyes as he took note of the man's appearance, trying to figure out who he is and smirked as he realized who it was based on the devil's lone red eye that had 3 tomos in a circular arrangement. Well, if it isn't Naruto Gremory. You've been gone for some time now. To what do I owe the honor? And I have to admit, you must have gotten stronger in your absence because last I heard you were on par with Surzich's and Ajuka using your time-space magic. Azazel said. As expected of the fallen angel governor. You are as smart as they say you are. I'm here to return your wayward subordinates to you. Naruto said as a black swirl appeared in the room and from it emerged the 3 still unconscious fallen angels. They've been defying your orders in my little sister's territory by trying to kill my student, the Red Dragon Emperor, and also attempting to extract Twilight healing from one Asia Argento. The male with them died because he wanted to try and kill my knight. Naruto explained. I see. Thank you for returning them to me. Azazel said with a sigh. I suggest you keep a tighter leash on your subordinates, Azazel. The next time one of your lackeys runs amok and puts my little sister at risk, there will be no mercy. Naruto said. I understand. Again, you have my thanks for not killing them. Azazel said. Also, I require your assistance in certain matters. Pertaining to sacred gears. Naruto said. Specifically? Azazel asked. Sephiroth growled. What do you know about it? Naruto said. Azazel reached back into his drawer and pulled out a file. Knowing that refusing would be stupid and he saw no harm in giving the information. This is all the information I currently have on it. Azazel said as Naruto scanned through the file and committed everything to memory before tossing it back to Azazel. Thank you very much. I'll be leaving now. I don't have to tell you, but do not tell anyone about me or I will have to silence you permanently. Just kidding. Naruto said before he disappeared in a black vortex. Azazel released a breath he didn't know he was holding and turned back to his wayward subordinates. Did I keep you waiting long? Naruto asked as he appeared in the room that Mia was in. No. What did Azazel say? Mia asked. Nothing much. Although I did get what I want from him. Now why don't I take you out for that supper I promised? Naruto asked. Actually, I feel like doing something else more pleasurable. Mia said with a seductive tone as she walked over to Naruto, pulling off his mask and capturing his lips before they moved to the bed. Time skip. 1 month later. So Issei, how has Asia been adjusting to the life of a devil? Naruto asked through a communication circle as he lounged on the couch with Akasha seated in his lap. Well, she's doing fine. She's actually a natural at it. She's already done a few contracts and according to Rias, we are going out to get our familiars soon. Issei said. I see, that's good to hear. Naruto said. Hey, sensei, how did you manage to convince Asia that becoming a devil was good for her? Also, do you know why I have a strange attraction to her? Issei asked. Well, I can answer the second one easily. She has a natural affinity for dragons and you being the Red Dragon Emperor naturally draws you to her. Although whether that ability is genetic or is it because of her pure soul, I do not know. As to your first question, you helped by showing her kindness out of your own heart. Something that she never experienced in the church since they only appreciated her for her power. Oh, that and the fact that she had no one else to support her and nowhere else to go. How did you convince Riaz to take her in, by the way? Naruto asked. Well, I just told her I found someone who needed a family and had twilight healing as a sacred gear, although at first she was a little apprehensive about recruiting a member of the church, but after she heard Asia's story, I swear I saw some tears in her eyes before she converted Asia. Are all Grimoires that sentimental? Issei said. Well, maybe. I know my elder brother Surziches is a total siscon now, but that might have been my fault because he fears that Riaz might just up and leave like I did. Anyway, what is this I sense in your voice? Are you falling for my little sister? Naruto said, his voice taking on a sickeningly sweet quality to it. Well, you see, Issei stuttered. It's alright, I don't really mind. Besides, you're leagues better than that stupid Phoenix kid that she is supposed to marry. And unlike the bigoted devils, you see my little sister for who she is, not the title she carries. So if you two decide to pursue a relationship, then I approve. Of course, if you do go into a relationship with her and you end up hurting her, well, I'll leave it to your imagination, Issei. Naruto said before he stopped the communication spell. He shifted his focus back to the vampiress that was currently seated in his lap, wrapping his arms around her waist. Sorry about that, Akasha-chan. I needed to check up on my student and his charge. Naruto said as he leaned his head against her shoulder. It's alright. You are making sure that your sister is taken care of. By the way, do you know when the engagement party is? Akasha asked out of curiosity as she ground her supple rear against Naruto's crotch, earning a groan from him. If my sources are correct, it is in 2 months' time, so that means Rizer will probably be coming in a month and a half to get my sister. Naruto said as he continued to groan from the feeling of Akasha's ass grinding against his crotch. He decided to pay her back and nibbled on her ear, causing his pink-haired rook to let out a sharp breath. Smirking, he went further by going for the sensitive flesh on her neck, causing her to moan and grind harder against his crotch. Deciding that it was enough fun for now, Naruto removed Akasha from his lap and placed her next to him, pulling her close while she pouted from being removed from her favorite spot. Naruto-kun, why did you stop? I was having fun and we could have done so much more. Akasha said seductively. As much as I love doing such things with you, we should be getting ready to go out if we don't want to lose our reservation. Naruto said. I guess you are right. But before we go, could I have a drink? Akasha asked. Of course, my dear. Anytime you want. Naruto said as he moved his neck to the side to allow her to drink. Akasha sunk her teeth into Naruto's neck and started to drink his blood, letting out a moan as the power in his blood was intoxicating to her. Once she was done feeding, she let go and gave the bite marks a lick, causing Naruto to shudder. Well then, shall we go get ready then, my king? Akasha said as she untangled herself from Naruto. Of course, my pink-haired vampiress. Naruto said as the two walked to the bathroom to get ready for their private time. They took a bath together, helping to wash each other's back and hair. Akasha was dressed in a following formal red gown with white lining, while Naruto was dressed in a grey shirt with a blue vest over top and black pants. Shall we, my dear? Naruto said as he linked his arms with Akasha. Of course, my king. Akasha said as the two stepped out and headed off for their fancy dinner at the pier. I hope that this dinner satisfies you, my dear. Naruto said as he poured some red wine for Akasha. Of course, Naruto-kun. As long as I get to spend time with you, that is all that matters. But nothing will compare to your blood though. Akasha said. I remember when you were still so apprehensive about drinking my blood and now you ask for at least one drink every day. If I wasn't a devil I might have died by now. Naruto joked. I can't help it if Naruto-kun's blood tastes so good and is so intoxicating to me. Akasha said with a pout. It's alright, I know I'm irresistible. Naruto said with a smirk, only to get bonked on the head by Akasha. Don't get so full of yourself, Naruto-kun. Akasha chided. You know, I wonder, how come you found my blood particularly addictive? You used to be so suspicious of me when we first met. Then after I helped you with defeating Alucard, you still didn't like me. But then you slowly started warming up to me, asking to drink my blood more often, becoming bolder and more open with your affections. Naruto said. Well, I guess it was because you were so powerful that I couldn't help but want to submit and become your mate after you first offered me your blood. But my pride wouldn't allow me to just give myself to some random man I just met. That's why I was so hostile and was so aggressive, because I was very frustrated due to my torn feelings. As to your blood being so addictive to me, I guess it's because you are my mate, so I will always desire you, everything about you. Akasha said, the last part being particularly suggestive. Well then, shall I entertain your desires, my dear? Naruto said as he paid for the meal and grabbed Akasha's arm and led her out the restaurant. I can't wait, my king. Akasha said as they shared a passionate kiss under the moonlight. I will make sure your body remembers my touch and have you yearning for more soon enough, my beloved vampiress. Naruto said in a low growl before kissing Akasha once more, teleporting them back to the house so that they could enjoy each other's bodies. Pants and heavy breathing could be heard from the room together with the lewd sounds of smacking flesh. Naruto ground as he drove his manhood deep into Tiamat. The Cho's Karma dragon was in her human form. She was bound in leather straps that placed her arms behind her back. Straps went around her, pushing them up and drawing attention to them. The legs were bound together by leather cuffs and a collar completed her ensemble. Naruto was pounding into her with abandon as she responded with her own movements that matched his own. They had been going at it for few hours now. Naruto had been using various toys and devices that Tiamat liked him to use whenever they had their private time. Naruto grunted as he felt Tiamat's womanhood grasp his member tighter, her velvety warmth surrounding him and trying to milk his seed from his hard throbbing member that was currently balls deep inside her. He felt the telltale signs of her orgasm as she arched her back for a moment, her insides tightening around him before she fell to the bed, panting even more. Her eyes seemingly blank as the pleasure overloaded her brain. This had probably been her fifth orgasm of the night. She had been brought to climax this night by various toys and even Naruto plowing into her tight asshole earlier, and now they were having the finale so to speak. Did my horny slut of a dragon just climax again? And before her master too? Naruto said as he shifted their position, leaning back and settling Tiamat on his lap, all the while continuing his onslaught on her. He smirked when he saw that she couldn't reply due to the gag in her mouth. He pulled it out and her moans filled the room. Naruto-sama, please continue pounding into your dragon's slave. Please allow me to please you for cooming without your permission. Tiamat moaned out. Oh, you won't be going anywhere till I fill you up, my beloved dragon. Naruto spoke into her ear, causing Tiamat to shiver. He groaned as he felt himself getting closer to his release. Who do you belong to? Naruto asked as he roughly played with her, pinching her as he massaged the massive globes with his hands. I belong to you and you alone, Naruto-sama. My body is yours to use as you see fit. So please fill me with your seed. You are my chosen mate and my everything is yours. Tiamat proclaimed. Then accept my seed, my beloved dragon. Naruto groaned out as he reached his climax, filled Tiamat with his warm seed. He pulled his softening member out of her and lay down on the bed. After regaining his sense, he untied Tiamat and pulled her to lay down with him. Did you enjoy that, my beloved dragon? Naruto asked as Tiamat snuggled into his chest, a content smile on her face as she felt her mate's seed sloshing around inside her. MHMM. I just love it when you are all fierce and dominating like that, Naruto-sama. Tiamat said before she drifted off to blissful slumber. Naruto just chuckled and wrapped his arms possessively around her, running one hand through her hair as his other arm was wrapped around her waist, pulling her as close as possible. It didn't take long for him to drift off into a dreamless slumber. Time skip. Next day. Are you ready to head out yet, Tia-chan? Naruto asked as he waited outside her room. Just give me a few more minutes. Tiamat said from inside the room. We are going to be late for the movie if you don't hurry up. Naruto grumbled. I'm ready. Now let's get going. Tiamat said as she opened the door and trapped Naruto's arm between her before proceeding to drag him away towards the cinema. Naruto managed to say a quick goodbye to the rest of his harem before they were out of the house, where the two started walking at a much more sedate pace. I still don't get what the big deal that this movie is about anyway. I mean, yeah, it was based around some book that sells but what on earth was so appealing that as soon as they announced the screening dates that you wanted me to take you there on the earliest possible date? Naruto asked as he and Tiamat made their way towards the Kuo cinema. That is a surprise. But wow, look at the crowd here. Tiamat commented as she saw the large line forming at the cinema. I bought tickets already so we won't have to wait in line. Naruto said. That's great. You really are the best master ever, Naruto-sama. Tiamat cheered out. Naruto had a tick mark on his head. Well, he was more than willing to indulge Tiamat in her submissive desires in private. Her behavior in public, especially with regards to their relationship, often got him unwanted attention. Naruto got the feeling that she was starting to do this on purpose just to annoy him. He smirked when she yelped and jumped a little after he discreetly pinched her ass. It seems that my little slave has forgotten what I told her about acting in public. I will have to teach her a lesson later on. Naruto whispered huskily in her ear, causing Tiamat to gain a rosy blush on her cheeks and rub her thighs together. Naruto pulled away from her ear and smirked when he saw that he had gotten her excited. But we should carry on. Don't want to be late for that movie after all. Naruto said as he pulled Tiamat along, who was now groaning about mean masters and unfulfilled fantasies of being screwed in public. Who knew Tiamat was a closet exhibitionist in addition to a closet masochist? Maybe it was behavior she showed only to Naruto. After the movie. I can't believe I just saw what was essentially porn. Naruto groaned out as he and Tiamat went to a nearby cafe to grab a bite to eat. They ordered their food and sat down in a nice secluded corner while Naruto kept complaining about the movie he just saw. Moo. Naruto-sama. That was not porn. It was a masterfully crafted work of erotic romance. Tiamat said as her eyes held an unusual sparkle and her grin was a mile wide. At least you enjoyed it, Tia-chan. Naruto said as the waiter brought their food over. They ate their food in silence, and Tiamat spoke up once more as they were having their dessert. But you know, that movie was useful. Tiamat said with a seductive smile. In what way is a pseudo-porno useful and enriching to our lives? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. Tiamat smirked and got up from her seat before plopping down onto Naruto's lap, curling her body so that she could lean her head on the crook of his neck, her breath against his ear causing him to shudder a little. Well, for starters, it could be used as some good reference material for our private time. Maybe a new fantasy we could act out. Like the student teacher or naughty nurse we did some time back. You enjoyed those, didn't you? Maybe we can act out an office fantasy. I can play the bad secretary that needs to be taught a lesson by her bossum. Tiamat said, and Naruto had a nosebleed as he recalled those times, as well as started imagining the new fantasy. Tiamat pulled away and returned to her seat. Humming in delight as she waited for Naruto's mind to reboot. Alright, let's not get sidetracked anymore. We have some things that we need to do before we head home. Naruto said as he chugged down the rest of his milkshake before getting up and stretching his body. You mean stalking your little sister? Tiamat asked. I'm just watching over her. I can't help but be anxious though. Will she even accept my offer of training? I mean, in a worst case scenario I can just hand a weapon specifically designed to beat a phoenix and be done with it, Naruto mused. But that would draw a lot of flack for not only Issei but also Rias, and it would also draw attention to you indirectly. Tiamat countered. Yeah. It would be problematic if they suddenly got that weapon from someone. But honestly, some devils are way too over-reliant on their inherited abilities. I mean, once you counter their specific talents they become sitting ducks. I have to say though, the current Belair interests me. Naruto said. You mean the one who trained himself to the ground to get as strong as he is now, despite not inheriting the power of destruction? Tiamat asked. Yes. I wonder what would happen if he and Guy were to meet. Naruto mused while Tiamat paled at the thought. Please tell me you are not going to let Guy convert him into a jumpsuit-wearing maniac who screams about youth all the time. Tiamat said. Of course not, but having another 8 Gates user is handy as a precaution. You never know when you might need to rely on purely hand-to-hand combat skills alone. I don't need to be taught that lesson twice. Naruto said as he looked at the time and saw that it was already almost 7 p.m. That's why you built that ludicrous monstrosity that you call a weapon. Tiamat deadpanned. Hey, Maelstrom is an awesome weapon. Naruto retorted. It took you half a year to design that damn BFS that transforms into an even bigger side. And for some odd reason you had to add guns and a rifle function. And then you decide to just use it as an oversized ornament in the house. Tiamat deadpanned. Yeah. Mock me all you want. It's just too damn inconspicuous to use right now. I'm still trying to keep a low profile, you know. Naruto said as he started walking towards Kuo Academy, Tiamat following behind him. If someone didn't know you well enough they would think that you were overcompensating for something. Honestly, all your techniques have gotten flashier. I mean, modifying the Rikiri from the efficient killing technique it was into the pompous thing it is now. Tiamat commented much to Naruto's displeasure. You know, Mia said the same thing about my sword techniques. And most of the changes to my sword fighting are because of her. I mean, who wouldn't feel insignificant when compared to someone who could destroy a battleship in one swing? Naruto groaned out as Tiamat's jabs at him were starting to get annoying. Alright, enough with the jabs. We are nearing Kuo Academy. It's time to be discreet. Naruto said as he looped in front his hand with Tiamat's, ducking into an alleyway before disappearing in a red flash. They appeared some distance away, watching as Asia played with her new familiar, while Issei looked on fondly. It would seem that he wasn't able to find a familiar. Odd, given that his training with Naruto should have allowed to him to get almost any familiar except the most powerful. Maybe he was just unlucky. Naruto would have to ask him during a more convenient time. Naruto's lips twitched upwards into a smile as he watched Ria's peerage enjoy a family moment. He frowned however when he noticed the faraway look in Ria's eyes and how she was out of things. He had to admit she hid it well from the rest of the peerage, but he knew that her queen Akeno could see that she was troubled. I might not be able to help you directly, Rias, but you have my word that you will be free to marry the man of your choice, even if I have to use underhanded means to do so. Naruto said to himself. Your sister seems awfully troubled. Tiamat commented. If you were about to be married off to a chauvinistic lust-driven pig of a man like Riser, wouldn't you feel the same way? Honestly, that brat needs to be knocked off his high horse. He isn't even the clan heir and he acts like he has a 10-foot pole shoved up his ass. I mean, who the hell refers to themselves in third person? Anyway, I've seen enough. I need to go make some calls. Naruto said before he and Tiamat teleported back home. Rias, who was seated at her desk, looked at the tree where they once stood and eyed it curiously before contemplating her current situation. I had fun today. Tiamat said as they appeared back in their house. I'm sure you did. Naruto said with a smirk. Tiamat gave him a peck on the lips before walking away. Don't overwork yourself, Naruto. You need to rest too. Tiamat said before she sauntered off. Naruto chuckled at the worry of his peerage before heading off to make a call, giving kisses to the rest of his peerage as he passed by them. "Hello Menma," Naruto said through the communication circle. "Ah Naruto, what can I do for you?" Menma asked from the other side. "I want to cash in that favor you owe me," Naruto said. "And what would you like my friend? I will try my best to accommodate you," Menma replied. "This is what I need." Naruto started as he explained the specialized firearm and ammunition that he required. Time skip. Day before Riser's arrival. Naruto and Kuroka were standing on the rooftop opposite to Issei's house and watched as Graphia interrupted Ria's attempt to give her virginity to Issei in a desperate attempt to end her engagement to Riser Phoenix. "You're quite a mean brother," Kuroka said. "As much as I want her to be free, this way that she came up with is ill thought out and done out of desperation. It would have led to more problems than solutions for her. Besides, a girl's first time should be something treasured and not done under the pressure of an impending undesired engagement," Naruto said as he sat down on the roof. Not long after Graphia left, Issei went to meet Naruto, having been adjusted to sensing his unique presence, despite how well it was masked. "I take it you had a hand in how that turned out?" Issei asked as he sat down on the roof next to Naruto. Riaz is afraid and can't think properly with the looming engagement. While she might have escaped temporarily, it would have led to more problems for her. Out of the frying pan and into the fire. "I don't really feel like explaining, but I'm sure the lessons I gave you about Devil Society will allow you to understand the potential repercussions of this act," Naruto said with a serious tone. "Yeah, I can sort of imagine the amount of problems she would have created for herself had we actually went further," Issei said. Naruto smiled at him before standing up. "Well, I need to spend some time with my Nico Haim, so I'll see you around." Issei. Knowing the situation, Riser will come by tomorrow and my brother will probably be sending Graphia along to be a peacekeeper. If my hunch is right, the most Surziches can do is organize a raiding game and give Riaz the opportunity to earn her own freedom. He is a devil king after all, and any favoritism could hurt his position. In this case, Ria's inexperience and lack of members would gain her some training time. "I want you to bring the group over to the shop and I will handle the rest," Naruto said. Issei nodded and both Kuroka and Naruto left in a black swirl. When they arrived back in their room, Kuroka found herself pinned to the wall, Naruto looming over her with a smirk on his face. "I could smell your arousal, my Nico Haim. Were you that eager to have your time with me?" Naruto teased, nibbling on her earlobe causing Kuroka to mewl from the contact. "My body has desired your touch, Naruto-sama. It desires the touch of its chosen mate. So please Naruto-sama, shower me with your love." Kuroka pleaded huskily as she wrapped her arms around Naruto's neck, her legs going around his waist. "Ask for it properly, my horny Nico, or I won't give it to you," Naruto said, teasing Kuroka further by nibbling on the sensitive flesh of her collarbone. "Please Naruto, fill me with your hard rod. Make love to me, my beloved mate." Kuroka moaned out as she felt Naruto's play with her firm rear. "As you request, my Nico Haim," Naruto said. He undid the obi that held her kimono closed and then unzipped his pants. In one smooth movement, he groaned out as he felt the familiar sensation of being inside Kuroka. All of his harem had a unique feeling when he was inside each of them and he enjoyed each of them equally. He pounded into her at a fast pace, knowing that was what she wanted. His arms were locked on her rear, massaging it and using it as a hold to pull her down onto his member. Kuroka was grinding her hips frantically, trying to increase their pleasure. Eventually they had moved to the bed, their clothing discarded into a pile on the floor. Kuroka lay on the bed, her arms wrapped around Naruto's neck to pull him close to her as he continued to pound into her, teasing the entrance to her cervix from time to time and making her see white. She would sometimes pull him into a passionate lip lock when she wasn't too lost in the waves of lust. Naruto used his arms to play with her, occasionally using his mouth to play with her sensitive. Naruto decided that it was time to up the ante and flipped Kuroka around so that she was now on her hands and knees without exiting her. Naruto pulled out till only the tip remained before slamming back into Kuroka, knowing that this position would give her the most pleasure. He went slowly at first, savoring the reactions he could pull out from Kuroka before the haze of lust overtook him and his hips became a blur. He pounded Kuroka at a fast pace, each time going all the way into her before pulling out and slamming back in. He continued to pound into her, Kuroka's moans and his grunts filled the room. After some time, Naruto felt Kuroka tightening around him as she arched her back, knowing that she had reached her climax. He groaned and felt his own release, wrapping his arms around her waist and pulling her close as he filled her up with his seed. Kuroka's climax was prolonged as she felt her mate fill her womb up with his warm semen. The two lay down on the bed comfortably and let sleep take them. Time skip. Next day. Kuroka relaxed into her mate's chest as she looked down at a feeding Boruto. She smiled and cooed at her child as he continued to feed. He felt her mate kiss her neck and she twisted her neck around to meet his face, their lips meeting for a moment before she sighed in contentment and leaned her head against his shoulder. "I take it you like relaxing like this?" Naruto said as he wrapped his arms around Kuroka, smiling down at his hybrid son as the child finished feeding. "Naruto has a very healthy appetite." Kuroka commented before getting up to get Naruto to burp. Once that was done and she had rocked the baby to sleep, she returned to her spot between Naruto's legs. She leaned back and rested her head against his shoulder, relishing the feeling of being close to her mate as she felt his arms wrap possessively around her. "You know Naruto is going to be quite the handsome devil when he grows up. And a powerful one too." Naruto commented. "MHMM. Words cannot express how grateful I am for giving me this feeling. Never in my days would I have thought that I would be able to give birth to a son. Male nekashus are rare after all. And after that debacle with my former master, I had resigned all hope of ever finding a mate. But then you saved me that day." Kuroka said as she smiled lovingly at Naruto. "That is in the past. But you know when Naruto grows up he's going to be quite the lady killer. I'll bet that many of them will be throwing themselves at him at the earliest possible age." Naruto commented only for Kuroka to let out a feral hiss. "No. He is not going to become some man horror playboy. I will not let any hussies sink their claws into my baby boy." Kuroka hissed out. Naruto chuckled and kissed her cheek. He found it funny whenever Kuroka was being all protective of Naruto. "As much as I enjoy seeing you like this, it's about time we returned back home. The meeting that Riaz is having with Riser is about to start and they should be moving to the option of a rating game soon," Naruto said as he stood up. Kuroka nodded and stood up as well, making sure not to wake up the sleeping Naruto. Naruto helped to dust off her kimono. Kuroka's style had changed greatly since she gave birth to Naruto. She wasn't parading her body as much since her body was for her mate's eyes alone and had taken to wearing more conservative battle kimonos. The two walked in silence back towards their home so that Naruto had enough time to prepare things for Riaz and her peerage. At the same time at the orc. "For the last time Riser. I will not marry you," Riaz said as she got up from the couch. "Riser represents the House of Phoenix. Riser will not have his house dishonored. I will drag you back to the underworld even if I have to burn your servants," Riser said as both devils started to flare their aura. They stopped when the temperature of the room dropped. "Lord Riser, Lady Riaz, I am here on behalf of Surziches and I will not allow any fighting on the honor of my master," Grafia said calmly. "If it was ordered by the strongest queen even Riser must concur," Riser said. Surziches foresaw communications would break down and offered an alternative. Grafia said. "Care to be more specific?" Riaz asked. "Should Lady Riaz still wish to go against the wishes of her house, then she has the option of settling this matter via a rating game," Grafia said. "A rating game? Just how far do they intend to mess with my life?" Riaz gritted out. "Does that mean that you are refusing this option?" Grafia asked. "No, I will take it. This is the chance for me to finally have freedom in my life," Riaz said. "Huh. I will entertain my inexperienced bride in a rating game then," Riser boasted. "Now that's not fair. He knows only mature devils are allowed to participate, so it's not like she has been given a chance," Akeno said. "Yeah, but I get the feeling that it gets worse," Issei said with a frown. "I must ask Riaz, is this all of your pieces?" Riser said as he eyed Akeno and Asia with lust, causing Akeno to glare at him and Asia to hide behind Issei. "And so what if they are?" Riaz said, glaring holes at her supposed fiancé. "Well, I must say you are completely outmatched. Because Riser has a full set," Riser said as a circle appeared behind them and his peerage appeared. "Wow, he has 15 beauties in his peerage. I'll admit that is something," Issei commented as he took note of Riser's peerage, assessing their threat level. Using the mask of a pervert as a cover just like Naruto had taught him. "Riaz, what is up with your servant? He is eyeing me oddly," Riser said pointing to Issei. "He says that his dream is to get a harem, but this the first time I've seen him act like this in 6 months," Riaz said. "Well then boy, feast your eyes on this because you will never be able to do this. You balloona," Riser said. Riser's queen stepped forward and Riser cupped her chin before pulling her in for a kiss complete with tongue. He then started to grope her much to the disgust of the people in the room. "You disgusting man. Not only do you have the gall of acting that way in the presence of the woman you are supposed to marry, but you also have your sister in your damn harem. How messed up is that?" Issei said gesturing to the girl that had blonde hair and 2 drill ponytails. "How dare you speak to me like that, you low-class devil?" Riser said angrily. "Why don't you come and make me shut up? You stupid flaming chicken. We don't need to wait for the rating game. I'll beat you here and now," Issei declared as he summoned his boosted gear. "Mira," Riser ordered. His pawn appeared in front of Issei who had a relaxed stance, his guard supposedly relaxed. She swung her staff at him and was surprised when he surged forward and stopped her swing by grabbing her arm. He stared at her with an unnerving blank look on his face. "Onidiko pin." Issei said before flicking her head and sending her flying back to her peerage. Everyone watched with wide eyes except for Grafia, who had an analytical eye on Issei's fighting because it seemed oddly familiar. This isn't the end of it. We will settle this at the rating game, and you had better enjoy your remaining days of freedom. Riser said before teleporting away. I believe that it would be fair to give you a handicap due to lack of members and experience, so you will be given 2 weeks to train. Security, if I might ask, who trained you to fight? Grafia said. Well, he lives in Kuo Town, and he actually owns the candy store called Whirlpool Sweets. He said he used to work as a mercenary for the supernatural by the name of Naruto Uzumaki. Issei said. That is interesting to note. I suggest you seek him out for your training, Lady Rias. Best of luck with the rating game. I need to inform Surziches and the families about the upcoming rating game. Grafia said before she teleported out of the room. Issei, why is it you never mentioned that the person who trained you resides in this town? What if he was a threat to us? Rias questioned. Well, it never came up, and don't worry, he retired a long time ago. In his words, I might be retired, but I'd be damned if I let one of the most powerful weapons that have the capability to kill gods be left in the hands of some greenhorn who thinks with his tool between his legs. At least that was what he said when he took me in. Issei said. Can you take us to him and convince him to train us? Rias asked hopefully. If whoever trained Issei could make him as strong as he was now in the span of a few months, he might be able to work on the great potential of her peerage in the 2 weeks they had. I can take you there, but you need to be the one to ask him. Just be honest and he will be more than willing to help. Issei said. Rias just sighed and they agreed to visit the shop tomorrow. Time skip next day, Whirlpool Sweets. Hi there, welcome to Whirlpool Sweets, what can I get you kids? Oh hey Issei. What can I get for one of my best customers and his buddies? Naruto in disguise asked as he saw Rias and her peerage walk in. He had transformed into a blonde-haired middle-aged man and was wearing a hat over his head together with a black haori over his short dark green kimono and pants. They want your help, old man. Issei said, only to be bonked by Naruto, who appeared next to him with a fan. Now that is not the way to address people. Naruto chided while everyone's thoughts were on how fast he was. Let's cut to the chase. We know you are aware that we are devils and we need your help. Rias said. Oh my. I don't know what Issei has told you, but these days I am a simple candy shop owner who wants to earn a decent living and enjoy his peace and quiet. Naruto said. Please. I need you to train my peerage. We have an important rating game coming up that will not only decide my future, but the future of all of them as well. I cannot allow my friends to be dragged into suffering with me. You must help train us so that we can win. Rias begged. I'll do it. Naruto said. Please, you have to help us, Wa. Rias said, dumbfounded by his quick agreement. I wanted to see your reason for asking me and you impressed me despite being a devil. Your reasons aren't purely selfish, and I respect that. But I must warn you, my training will make these 2 weeks the worst days ever in your young lives. Would you be willing to follow them without complaint? Naruto asked. Yes. Rias and her peerage replied. Good. Now follow me. Naruto said as he led the group to the back room where there was an opening and a ladder. What exactly is down there? Rias asked. Why don't you all find out? Naruto said as he pushed them all down the hole. They landed in a heap at the bottom, and Naruto chuckled as he descended down the ladder. Welcome to your home for the next 14 days. Naruto said as he gestured to a wide expanse of land that had various types of terrain. In the corner was a small house complete with a hot spring behind it. How did you even fit all of this here? How did you even build all of this? Rias asked as she and the rest of her peerage with the exception of Issei were awestruck. My dear, if there is one thing you should know is that a mercenary never reveals his secrets. It keeps us paid. Now then, before I start training you kids, I need to know what exactly you are all capable of. So come at me with the intent to kill. Naruto said, pushing in some killing intent into his words, causing the devils to tense up. Rias gave the signal to her peerage and they started to spar. 30 minutes later. The only one left stand was Issei, and even then he was barely on his feet. Asia was exempted since she wasn't a fighter at all. The rest of the peerage were knocked out and their bodies lay motionless in different parts of the training ground. Naruto smirked and stabbed his katana into the ground to indicate that it was the end of the spar, and Issei dropped to his knees in exhaustion. He gestured for Asia to heal them and get them back on their feet while he waited. Alright then. I have a rough feel for each of your abilities now and have come up with a unique training regime for each of you. Kiba, you will be doing weighted training to help increase your stamina. You will also be learning how to be less tense so as to better conserve energy. Koneko, you will be doing weight training as well, but focused on developing speed. I will also be teaching you hand-to-hand combat techniques. Akeno and Rias will both be working on controlling their magic aura to be more efficient and less wasteful. Asia, you will be learning how to use magic. That is the plan for the first week. Naruto said. Hey sensei, what about me? Issei asked and already fearing the worst. You will be training to unlock your balance breaker. My target is 3 days. In 3 days you will unlock your balance breaker. I've done some research on sacred gears and I believe that I have the perfect method for unlocking your balance breaker in 3 days. Naruto said. Alright, let's get Kiba and Koneko started first, then I'll start with the rest of you. Put these on. Naruto said as he handed straps for Kiba and Koneko to put on. He did a single hand sign and the two immediately found it hard to move. He gestured them both to an open space and gave them both similar workouts but different targets to train their specific weaknesses. He watched them for a while before moving back to the others. He motioned for Rias and Akeno to follow him and got them started on magic exercises, starting with balancing a leaf on their fingers using magic. Asia, you will be learning some defensive magic to make you a better support bishop in the game. Just follow my clone and he will do the rest. Naruto said as he motioned for Asia to follow a clone he created. Now then Issei, it's time we started your training. And I suggest you prepare for pain, a lot of pain. Naruto said with an evil smirk. Scene change. Lucifer Castle. So Rias chose to have the rating game, eh? I'm not surprised. Surziches mused. My lord, I believe it would be wise to inform you that I have a hunch that Issei Haidu, the current security, is trained by your brother. The name is familiar too. Naruto Uzumaki was the cover name. Graphius said. Well then, if he trains my sister and her peerage then they might just have a chance. It seems despite everything he still watches over us all. Surziches commented with a chuckle. Should we approach him and bring him back? Graphia asked. No, it wouldn't be wise. He will come back when the time is right. Surziches said.